Hello, 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 everybody. It is so good to see so many people here. This is exciting. I see so many of you, Purple Phoenix, Crime Sleuthin'. We got The Missing with Manda. Oh my gosh, and Pam's here. Everybody's here. Thank you guys so much for coming. We're super excited because Terri Horman was up late last night on Facebook. And since I went on Justin for All, our trolls are coming out of the woodworks, and we are going to talk about it all. Tonight's live is Terri Horman, up late last night on Facebook, talking. I do have Kaylia here with me. She is getting some stuff situated on her end with some headphones. By the way, I am Samantha. Thank you guys all for being here. I was up late last night too, and I'm watching all these messages that she is writing, Terri Horman, on a Facebook, and she just has to deflect constantly. She's in a group. These people are talking BS all the time, and there are some really, really important things to talk about other than trying to create this narrative. Please welcome Kaylia.
Hello, everybody. Sorry I'm a little late.
But yeah, we are sick of watching Terri in the comment sections over here in this group trying to control everything.
Yeah.
And besides trying to control everything, she's not answering the important questions. Answer some important questions. She will ignore any questions if she thinks anybody has any proof otherwise or can prove it as a lie. Well, I can prove a lot of what she says is a lie, and I'm about to. This show's going to get a little bit ugly, kids, but bear with us because, yeah, we're just tired of some shit. After going on Justin for All, I've been checking in the comment section, making sure, if people got some questions that I can answer them. Immediately found one of our trolls in there saying a bunch of stuff. I got accused of not doing my research, so I brought my receipts tonight. You can guarantee that.
Yeah, right. It's funny because it all started again when you went on Justin for All. Funny how it works like that.
Because, these trolls, they've been, these Terri supporters is what we've decided to call them. These Terri supporters have been quiet. They haven't even been posting about Kyron. I mean, you can hear the crickets, okay, over there in their group the last couple of months because nobody's posting, nobody's commenting, nobody's liking, and then all of a sudden, I go on Justin for All. This group goes crazy, because this group uses Terri Horman and her son James Moulton as their meal ticket, literally. They go over and do reviews for the book Boy Missing, the Search for Kyron Horman book. I mean, talking about, hey, come join our group. We've got Terri and James, her son. They do the same thing on Reddit. They do the same thing on YouTube. I have talked to so many creators, and when they ask me, do they talk? Is that you they're talking about? And I'm like, yeah, it's me. It's us. It's World Soldiers. But these creators also say, like, I know people that's worked with them before, and oh my God, they have totally, backed away from working with them. Matter of fact, Purple Phoenix actually had her on one of her lives. We do have a little clip from there. I don't think Purple Phoenix realized who this person was. I want to let you know, Purple, we're not saying anything bad about you. We just want to talk about this little food stamp gig that she claims she wasn't actually trying to sell her food stamps about online, because right now she is starting another fundraiser to try to hire a private investigator in
Yep.
Kyron's case without parents' permission or anything.
Yep. And not, no approval by the family, and just going directly to her. So that's why I think this is relevant to show, because this is who is collecting the money, you know?
Chaos Queen says, I remember that. Yeah,
I was
this
so
creator's
surprised, honestly. I was like, oh, wow. Just because, honestly, because I just, when I saw that, I was like, wow, back then I didn't know Purple Phoenix. Now I do. And I was like, oh, wow, what a small world it is, kind of.
So yeah, let's just start with her so we can get her out of the way, because I don't want to, well, we'll be talking about her more, but we're already talking about this fundraiser,
Right.
so I'm throwing it up. This is the fundraiser, and she's got a Cash App going. Do not donate to it. If you're on Facebook and you donate money, don't do it.
Yeah, if you see this shared anywhere, just know it's not going to the family. And honestly, whatever, if people, I have said this before, if they want to donate, honestly, they can donate. We don't advise it, but I honestly think at the very least this should have been disclosed, that this is not family, like going to Kyron's family. This is independent or something like that, you know?
Yeah,
So it doesn't
is.
mislead people into donating like it's going to go towards Kyron's family or anyway, or something like that, you know?
Yeah, take your money and go donate at the Kyron Horman Foundation. Take your money, find
Yes.
Desiree and donate through Desiree, or go help wash some cars during the summertime and donate your money there. Don't donate to this person. She's a fake, she's a fraud. She's got lots of bad things, lots and lots of bad things.
Right.
Going on over there. And this isn't her first time trying to get money donated. It's not, and it just needs to come to a stop. This is all of her profiles, and this isn't even all of them. This is just some that was being talked about last year. Since then, I think I've seen maybe 5 more, Kalia?
Yeah. And these are just the ones that she identifies or puts a picture of herself. There are so many more that she runs and operates and acts like it's not her, to mislead people, mislead her group members, mislead the public into thinking other things. But if you've been in the group for a long time, you can tell which and how she talks, and you can look at little coincidences and things that link these profiles to her in a way. And so, yeah, so these are just the ones that have her picture on it. There are like tons more that she operates that she pretends isn't her.
Peppermint Mocha says, who is trying to collect money? Terri? No, Terri supporters are trying to collect money for a private investigator to look into Kyron's case so they can spin their narrative to the PI and see if this PI can create some other guilty person that they're not ever going to find, because Terri Horman, in my opinion, is absolutely guilty as hell when it comes to taking Kyron and knowing exactly where Kyron is. Her and Dee Dee Spicer both. And what else do I got here? Can you read that, Kalia?
Yeah, this is a post she wrote. I guess it says giving DY
Desiree Young.
Yeah, Desiree Young, Kyron's mom, a day. We're scammers, but actually invite bio parents in this private investigator thing to work together. Anyways, tomorrow is the day we will have everything together, or Friday when Garnett is off. We have spoken to lawyers and also accountants helping us put this together. So yeah, they made a video that was directed towards Desiree, basically saying, Desiree, you have 24 hours to respond. We can work together, or we cannot, but we're going to do this regardless. And that was kind of, I feel like, their attempt to cover their butts, to say, well, we tried and she didn't want our help. But honestly, if you go and look, the video only has like 80 views on it, and I highly doubt Desiree saw it. Did they ever actually? I mean, they probably. I feel like they did say they reached out to Desiree, but at this point, they had already done so much harm that why would they have wanted to work with them? They chose not to, and that is Desiree's and Kane's prerogative. But they decided to keep going anyway and just be like, you have 24 hours to respond.
Yeah, my question is, who the hell do they think they are? Demanding Desiree to, hey, you got 24 hours. You know what? F you, BZ. For real. Like, who the hell does she think she is? Demanding. You know what? This is sick. I have been livid since last night. I barely got any sleep. When I got a hold of Kalia this morning and we started talking, we were both in an uproar on the phone. She was glad that I was mad. I was glad that she was mad. And we don't get on here often and act like this. But yeah, it's what we're doing, guys. It's what we're doing. And it needs to be done. Mm-hmm. It's sick and vile.
After we kind of get through this, we'll kind of go back and talk about why this is all relevant to both Samantha and I personally, and how this is, why this is matters.
I wanted to show everybody this. You know, they made a Facebook group dedicated to Stacy Green, who has been the biggest advocate in Kyron Horman's case. She's friends with Desiree. She's gone on all the searches. She's gone and helped with all of the car washes. She has been posting about Terri and Dee Dee for 13 years. And because they disagree with her, because they disagree that she believes that Terri and Dee Dee did something, they had to make a sick Facebook group about them. I mean, they put my face on the picture of a leprechaun, you guys, and started spreading it around, calling me a leprechaun. I could give two shits, really.
Right. And, you know, I will say one thing that, to their defense, Stacy Green might not have done everything right in her advocacy, and they might have their own problem against each other. But I do believe that has settled. I mean, in the last 6 to 8 months, the back and forth between Stacy Green and this woman have settled. So sometimes this woman wraps us all into one when she's talking about what she's been through. And I just wanted to say that, you know, we all have our own interactions with her. And, you know, I won't say that everything Stacy Green did was absolutely great, but nonetheless, just wanted to throw that out there.
This is a picture that Stacy Green made, and I just wanted to throw it up. I just wanted to throw it
definitely
up.
Not.
So we're addressing this because somebody in the comment section on Justin for Live said that these supporters, Terri Horman supporters, went on, oh my goodness, what's his name again? Thank you very much. The Norman Nix show.
He's another creator here on YouTube, and yeah, he has he got him and they got all involved, but he's kind of really backed away lately. But yeah, in the comments, somebody said that Norman Nix and these other creators did a great job researching, and we disagree strongly.
You'll see why we disagree. Listen to this.
True. We're not frauds. We're not stalkers. We're not, you know, any of that. We've never doxed anyone. I think that's really important.
No, even when we had the opportunity to dox people.
Yeah.
We always choose not to, even when it's easy to.
Mm-hmm. It's so easy. They said that we harass, we dox, we threaten, and we stalk, which is, it's a lie. It's a lie. When we come for you, don't be crying. Because I promise it's not going to be good. It's not.
Ooh, I'm scared. No, I'm not.
And I don't do bullies, so even Karen bullies, you know what I mean? So
the bio mom has
because lazy bio mom had no time for a kid, so she has no archive.
Oh.
Really? Lazy
There's
bio mom. They call her a bio mom. They call her Medford mom because she lives in Medford. It's disgusting. Her name is Desiree
yeah,
Young, and she has a missing child.
right. You know what? And what he's talking about right there is he's calling her a lazy mother and saying she doesn't have any photos of Kyron of her own. And that is such a lie. That is a lie that Lexi told him. And here they are broadcasting it out and degrading and trying to talk crap about Kyron's mom. That I just can't even believe my eyes and my ears that these are creators out there spreading lies like that.
It's disgusting.
Show me where I doxed them. Show me on my platform where I actually gave a fuck.
Exactly. Hold on, I'm about to reach.
But what I am going to do is show you exactly where the process server is going to go if you fuck around. Does this place look familiar to you? I hope it does. Because the next time you fuck around with my team, you can best believe law enforcement's going to be at this address.
Looks like doxing to me.
While she was pregnant with Kyron, not be able to make it work with the father of her children, the person she decided to lay her legs open to and give and conceive with. I'm so highly
Open her legs to you guys. That's the stuff they're saying about her. This grosses me out every time I listen to this. I just want to sock somebody. I'm sorry.
amped about being involved in this, with you guys in this case, because I don't believe in, in smacking female, physically assaulting, women or whatever. But I will socially fucking body slam a bitch in public and make her look like a fucking clown online in any fucking faucet that I can.
You're over here harassing Terry and doing all of this stuff. We don't do that, but we do speak the truth. And if it sounds nasty, it is what it is. But we're not doing what you guys do. And if we were on that level, it would be a whole different story. You guys are just mad that we come out and we're not scared.
This bitch is prime. Well, 13 years. Sounds like a bitter bitch to me.
I hope.
A bitter bitch to me. That's what he says about Desiree. He'll smack a bitch. Sounds like a bitter bitch. It's disgusting. And I am.
Yeah, these people try to or claim to be advocates for Kyron and say that they're here for Kyron and that they care so much about Kyron. And this is how they're talking about his mom when it's honestly just appalling. And like it says, these are all on videos about Kyron. So when sometimes if people want to go research Kyron, if they fall down the wrong path, and we'll talk about why that matters in a little bit, they might hear this crap and start to believe it as truth. And it just is sickening that this is what's out there from child advocates.
Yaya's world, you came into a world of Ishiat. This is an advocate we're having a problem with in the Kyron Horman case. They attack the mom. They're trying to do fundraisers without the parents' permission. They're sick and disgusting people, and we're calling them out. We've been having a lot of problem with them since we went on Justin for All, and yeah, we're just giving everybody giving everybody a little look at what's been going on. Purple
Kind of a
Phoenix.
little bit
I
of our
think my
story.
team is going to revisit this case and its players. Yes. See, this is what I'm talking about. You know what? While I'm just thank you guys for welcoming us into your community.
Really,
you guys opened up your arms to us a few weeks ago, and I just want to let you guys know we feel it, and our platform is open for any of you. If you guys need help with anything, let us know. Because we appreciate you all.
I wish.
But the timeline of where the meaning of this message of Kyron is gone, because all we have is a bitter baby mama that keeps talking and it's like she's having her cake and eat it.
Buckle up for the real crime team roll.
Now, these videos that are about to be shown aren't videos that we made. These are videos other creators have also noticed and have made about her.
Call. You have Avery Shannon checking convictions, and most importantly, Arctic Fox.
just people are just so weird. They'll always have something to say. And just like the food stamp person that came in here, it was Christmas time, and this is how much these people stalked me from this group that I think it was Roberta was talking about. This group, I had to set all my stuff private because they stalk you, they threaten you.
Yeah.
On Christmas, I was literally joking. Like, everybody got like a $3,000 like extra for some reason, and I was like, I needed to buy some Christmas presents. Who wants the hookups on the food stamps? And I did a laughing face, like jokingly.
Where's the laughing
And
faces?
it's like, really? Like, even if I wanted to, okay, who cares? It's not your life. But I was actually joking. And I took the post down because I knew that these people would attack. But my kids were totally taken care of. Like, it's just ridiculous. They will find anything about you or that you've said and use that against you, you know? But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like, yeah, that was true, but that doesn't make me. I can't be an advocate because I was joking about the food stamps.
Maybe I'm meant to be alone. Maybe a relationship and happiness just isn't the cards for me. Maybe forever wasn't meant for me. Maybe true love actually doesn't exist for me.
Everyone, welcome back to Truth Exposed. It's been a while, but I'm back, and this time I'm ready to expose some YouTubers. Today we are focusing on Lexi. She goes by the name of Red Bull, Coffee, and Crime. Well, Ms. Lexi is an interesting one, to say the least. She claims to be a child advocate, however she constantly posts selfies on her advocate page and has tried to sell her food stamps on there as well. After catching some heat over that, she removed the post, but not before I took a screenshot. Sorry, Lexi, you're not that fast, are ya? So she said her attempt at selling food stamps was a joke. I believe she realized that since it's illegal, she should remove her post due to the fact that it is a federal crime. That's right, folks, selling food stamps is actually a felony. I guess Red Bull didn't know that, and
Yeah, this doesn't sound like she, was just joking. She says, who wants stamps? 150 for 30 or for 300. At this point, willing to do anything, man. Walmart screwed up my orders. My baby only thing she wanted won't be here for Xmas, SMFH, always something. It's only 70, but man. Yeah, and Purple Phoenix said something about Terri being guilty. That's what she does. If you say she's guilty, you're booted out of her group. You're not allowed to have your own opinion. It isn't, hey, level-headed, hey, Levi. This isn't, this is a Terri supporting group. If you go in there with any other opinion, you're gonna get kicked out. That's the way that it is over there.
That's right.
until someone warned her. If this Facebook page she is running is in fact to advocate for missing children, then why is she posting selfies? Why is she saying she is going ghost? Yes, Lexi, take that well-needed vacation. Those children will sit waiting for you to come save the day after you're well rested. Now please explain the selfies. You already posted you have 8 children. Are you looking for a sugar daddy or a new baby daddy? Asking for a friend. No, I'm joking. I'm asking because I want to know. I've listened to a few of Red Bull's very boring lives, and let me tell you, she isn't very good at entertaining people, let alone saving those in need. Her panel guests all sound as thought they're on some type of illegal substances, or perhaps they're not as smart as they claim. She talked about aliens and UFOs, and I have never been so bored or unimpressed with the stupidity and lack of knowledge they all possess. And to top it off, they all boasted and bragged about themselves. I was completely astonished with how so many people with zero intelligence believe that they should be scholars in every subject they speak on. Red Bull, or Lexi, whatever you prefer to be called, I think you should give up wanting to be a true crime advocate and consider something that uses less brain cells. Oh, and please, we are begging you, stop with the selfies. You're not that pretty.
Yeah, Zane Lilly says here, I never joined, but she blocked me from the group for saying the theory that Kyron's teacher let him leave with a strange man sounded far-fetched. I didn't even say anything about Terri. Yeah, you can't have a theory that points away from Terri either. If you don't agree with something, you're out. And this is funny because we'll talk about how we all met each other. Me and Kaylee will give our shortest version of this. And this is when I met her, when she was on another discussion group as a Terri hater. Like, she thought Terri was guilty too. But then she had to start following the crowd of people that's in this discussion group that started thinking that Terri wasn't guilty. And since, she decided she wanted to be a little bit different, she started following the crowd. And I met her. I met several other people. I got invited to a case study. In that case study, a group was made, the group that has Terri Horman in it now, with these Terri supporters. I was actually an admin of the group. When I started disagreeing with things that they were doing, things that they were lying about, misinformation they were spreading, oh my gosh, so much other stuff was going on, these conspiracy theories that they would come up with. I was booted out. They tried stealing all of the videos that I had done on Kyron Horman. They tried stealing all of the pictures that I had taken from up at the school in different search areas. Luckily enough, I was able to get into the chat where we were all doing our case studies at and started deleting every single one of them from the chat so they didn't have access to any of them anymore. I mean, after I started my group, Kyron Horman Case Revisited on Facebook, they started coming in and started stealing my information, started stealing my case studies or whatnot. And that's one thing. Like, I don't care if I share Kyron's story. If you need information, let me know. The coming into the group and just the way they were doing it was just, it just,
And you
I don't know
can't
how to say
forget,
it.
on top of that, on top of stealing her work and her content, they were lying about Samantha. They were lying, trying to discredit her as a person so nobody would come back over to Samantha's research group that she had branched off and started because she's like, screw these people. They are spreading misinformation, and we know they are now. I mean, like, they honestly, the integrity of these people is below the freaking floor, in my opinion. My shortest version of how I met them was excuse me, I mentioned Stacy Green from Kyron Horman World Soldiers. She was having problems with these people, posting about them, and of course curiosity got the better of me, so I went over there. And one thing about me is I really actually enjoy to research, and I really like to fact check information and get to the bottom of things. So whenever I was hearing that people were actually thinking Terri was innocent, I was like, what? How? I've lived in this area my entire life. I know everything, or I thought I knew everything about the case back then, but since then I've realized, no, I didn't. Anyway, I joined their group and I was asking questions and trying to, be open-minded. And honestly, the misinformation they were posting, it was tricking me. And I was confused, and I was actually starting to think, oh my goodness, could Terri actually not be involved in this? Then I started doing research and I started debunking the things they were saying. And long story short, we got into a big argument over this man named Harry Oakes, who we've done a live on a while back. He inserted himself into Kyron's case and also spread a ton of misinformation. And if anybody from this group that we're talking about, Lexi's group, if you guys are listening, Harry Oakes still has not served me with any papers. He's claimed to sue me because I've exposed him as being a liar. And this group's banned me over saying this guy's a liar. And that was how I was like, well, that sucks. So I found Samantha's group and I joined Samantha's group, and then that's how we met. And it's
Thank
kind
the
of like,
Lord.
right. It's kind of like, wow, it sucks that we went through this, and it sucks being misled, and it sucks feeling deceived, but also how great, because Samantha and I have an awesome friendship and we work really well together. And now we've started doing these lives and bringing a lot more information to, and covering other cases. And it's just been awesome. So yeah, it's been a blessing in disguise, but that's why Lexi is even important to our story. She's misled so many people. These Terri supporters have misled so many people, including Samantha and I, who feel like we do pretty darn good research.
Right,
and at
because
one
all
point
of the case studies was told about, and the people that I was being led to believe could have something to do, with Kyron's disappearance, did not add up. And eventually, like I said on Justin's live, I kind of felt like a fool. Like I was misled. The case studies didn't add up. Every single person that I've spoken to with the detective on Kyron's case has told me that these people have either been looked into or they're just not even an interest, because, some of these people just are people that Terri started talking about in the beginning to start, making a little web of deception and control the narrative a little bit. So, but that's how me and Kaylee met, and that group, and a lot of the people that are in that group, they actually shut down an entire discussion group because they were attacking everybody in a discussion group that had been up for years. I believe it's archived now. I don't know. I can still go in there and find out information and stuff, but I can't invite anybody in there. I still search around and look for information because there's like a lot of really older information in there about Kyron's case that I love to
Desiree
find.
was in there.
Yeah, Desiree Young was in there. They attacked her. She left the group.
Right.
I mean,
and since Samantha and I have worked together to really get to the bottom of these claims, these misleading claims that had us looking in all these different directions other than Terri, we have debunked them. And honestly, that group has been quiet, crickets. They have basically stopped posting. A lot of the key members stopped posting at all. And it's because I honestly feel like, I can only speculate, but it's like, we disproved so many of their lies that now they have really nothing else to talk about. And again, they just started kind of talking about us and talking about Samantha going on Justin for All again, like it's a bad thing for Kyron. And it's just like, come
when
on,
it's not.
guys.
Because
No, it's
literally,
coverage for Kyron. This is all for Kyron, what they always say.
They're always talking about how, what are they doing? They never do anything for Kyron. Yes, Purple. Terri did go on the Dr. Phil show in 2016. Yes. She also talked to People magazine, but she won't go talk to law enforcement. So let's not talk about them anymore until we get into this, because Terri Horman was going crazy on Facebook last night. Let's just see. Oh, I want to squash this real quick. This is the person that came into Justin's live, telling me that I don't do my research, and I'm going to just squash this weather thing right now, because not only do I have a teacher from the area where Kyron disappeared from that tells me that up at her school, it was pouring, pissing rain the morning Kyron disappeared. We also found a news channel talking about the weather. And then, let's just add this comment up on stage and we'll talk about it. Creator Norman Nix covers this story. Yeah, well, we already just talked about Norman Nix. He was the sick guy in the video saying all those really bad things about Desiree Young. Another video to watch is Tanner Pamala. He was Kyron's classmate, and he puts Kyron with the class after Terri leaves the school. A video of the... let me pause right there. So, yes, Tanner Pamala came forward. He said that he saw Kyron. Tanner Pamala was 8 years old. He was a classmate of Kyron's. He said that, and later on, Jason Gates, the investigator then, said that previous
Contrary to the previous reports, Terri
Yes.
was the last person, because they were able to narrow it down based on listening to everybody's timeline. And we've talked about this in our group. Honestly, we have a theory in our group that lots of us believe that Terri sent him down the hall to be seen by himself one last time.
Yeah, just so people in the school could see him by himself, so there could be witnesses saying, "Oh, we saw Kyron. He wasn't with Terri," just because we really believe that's how plotted out this was. Like if nobody knows, Terri was into true crime, just like all of us, and she watched Dexter. She read lots of books on crime. I've actually looked into her enough. I've seen her comments on different crime books and different places on the internet. So she really plotted this out. And yeah, we have a couple of theories about how she sent Kyron up one stairwell while she went up another, just so people would see her. And then this person says that Terri leaves the school. There's a video of the groundskeeper who said he saw on that little side road next to the school in a white truck. At the same time, police say it was Terri. Okay. The groundskeeper's truck does never stay on access road. He unlocks it and he pulls all the way up into the soccer field with his equipment. But I know for a fact that this groundskeeper, David Stinson, is not a person of interest by law enforcement. I was going to hand Detective Tabor my case study on David Stinson that I had done, and I had studied him a very long time, and he wasn't interested in it. He said that there was a news report that came out at the end of the summer that made a lot of people speculate on whether or not he could have been involved, and it started a lot of rumors that this groundskeeper had something to do with Kyron's disappearance. And he said that they had actually spoken to him earlier in the summer, so like shortly after Kyron came up missing. They're not interested in this guy. This guy's got an alibi. And we've told these people this 1,000 times, and yet here they are still wanting to spread misinformation, and they're doing it on Justin's platform.
Mm-hmm. And Terri, someone commented on there, but yep, Terri did confirm she parked on this access road. So also that's confirmed. I also don't know why they were also alluding she might not have been the one that was in the white truck there at the time.
Yeah, because law enforcement says she parked in the front of the school, and then later on they know the truck moved up access road there in front of the school. And then they wanted to know if anyone had seen anyone in or around the truck, because they believed there could have been a second person outside of the school while Terri was in school with Kyron. And that person was probably the person that moved the truck up access road. So she even admits to being there. It didn't rain on the day. The weather was clear. No, we'll move forward here in a second, and I'll be able to show you guys there was lots of rain. There was 0.5 inches of rain that day. If you're going to call yourself a researcher, then be transparent about all information, whether you like it or not. Terri is a disgusting person, but I totally agree. I don't even know why they said disgusting, because this person's trying to say that Terry's not guilty, that I totally agree with. However, I don't believe she took Kyron from the school. Do I believe she could be involved with the person who did? Yep, it's very possible. Watch the documentary, which I don't even know what documentary she's talking about. What documentary is she talking about?
I have no idea.
And ask yourself, where are these eyewitnesses? I mean, I only know of the one that you found from 2020, Any Long Story, and then I know there was like a movie made once, but I've never seen like a documentary done on Kyron. Maybe it's out there. If anybody knows about it, let me know.
Well, the thing is they say right here, because they don't come forward in the documentary. Well, we know that eyewitnesses, they, at least one, still publicly supports Desiree and shares her stuff and goes to the car wash, or shares the car wash and shared the book and publicly supports Desiree. And obviously that Desiree, they're the ones who probably told Desiree this, or the police told them, and they've talked about this or something, you know. So that eyewitness is okay with Desiree saying that in the book, is what I'm saying. They're okay with Desiree publicly saying that, yes, they were the last person or one of the last 4 people to see Kyron leaving the school with Terri that day.
Yeah, and then it goes on to say that the bus driver's part in this story doesn't play out, which we will be going over because Terri Horman actually talked about the buses last night on Facebook. And it's just really important to see what she said. I couldn't believe it. Yeah. This is the information on the weather. This is Kathy. I blocked out her last name. I don't even think she knows that I'm using it. She was having a conversation with our other admin in our group. She is a teacher in that area, and she says it was raining that morning. I was at Forest Park Elementary, 8 miles south in the same general area. My first grade students were very upset because we were having a school carnival that evening at 5 p.m. It appeared that it might be rained out. The skies were black with clouds that morning, with the worst of the rain falling from about 20 minutes around 9 o'clock. For about 20 minutes around 9 o'clock. My first graders rushed to the window because they were so upset by the rain. The rain stopped by noon, like I've been telling everybody, from about 9 to noon. Not only, I mean, like it was piss and rain. And before all of this, in May, record recording. It was like the 3rd highest ever in Oregon for the rain. Like it was just
within by halfway through June, it had already broken the record for how much rain June had ever had.
Good night, Pam. I see you. Yeah, my first graders rushed to the window because they were so upset by the rain. The rain stopped by noon, and my school was able to hold their carnival that evening. I often think about how, while my first graders were understandably worried about a potentially canceled school carnival, something horrible was happening to a 7-year-old Kyron just a few miles away. We just don't know for sure what Kyron's fate was. This woman is amazing. She really lets me know. She messages me a lot, you know, about things that happen. We have a lot of people in the community that are in our Facebook group. Like, they will let me know. If I get something wrong, they'll let me know. And I always correct it. And if I don't know something that needs to be added to something that I've posted, they are the first to come into Messenger and say, hey, Sam, you know what else I know about this? Check this out. And they let me know. And it's really amazing because that's what happens when you're doing the right work for a child, when you're actually a good advocate for a child.
Right.
Welcome to Thursday. It is June 3rd, and it's time for our Facebook forecast.
They're going to say, oh my God, this is June 3rd. It's June 3rd, but listen, it does talk about the rain later in the evening, and it talks about the rain in the morning.
And if you've looked outside, you don't need me to tell you that, yeah, it's raining again. But just in case you haven't looked outside, Nate, you got the camera, I got the radar, and take a look. There you see the latest batch of precipitation moving into western Oregon. You can see right there, Willamette Valley from Harrisburg to Corvallis, Salem will bring you up into the Portland, Vancouver area. We're seeing moderate rain right now throughout all of the metropolitan area. Over on the coast, there's Manzanita and Rockaway Beach. Raining just beginning to start right now on the north coast around Astoria, but a lot of it on the way overnight tonight and for tomorrow as
overnight tonight and tomorrow, again, throughout the night and the next day, there's going to be rain. There was rain. Stop talking about there being no rain.
Round 2 has moved into the northwest. So here's the satellite loop, and we'll put this, and you can see right here. There is our area of low pressure, and then here's the next cold front. It's still well offshore, but look at this. You can still see how the jet stream just drags all that moisture right across the Pacific Ocean and pushes it right into the Pacific Northwest. So again, some very, very wet weather out here. Now,
So this was January, I don't know why I said January. This was June 4th, 2010. It's going to hone in on, I kind of zoom in on how much rain was in Portland in 2010 on June 4th. One or 0.5 inches of rain, like almost an inch of rain. It's the precipitation in inches. You guys, this was aggravating me. Okay, I live in the Pacific Northwest. Kaylia, we live here.
Yep.
We know what the weather was like. For them to be talking about things they just don't understand or know about, it's just like, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. It bothers me, especially in Kyron's case, because I do know it so well. For people to talk about the same old crap. They talk about the same stuff over and over and over. It doesn't matter how many times it gets debunked. They still want to keep talking and mentioning stupid shit. Damn, get over it.
That is right. That is right. In fact, I laughed a little bit at them sharing Blink on Crime again. I'm like, I thought we were all in agreement that this lady is a freaking liar. Nothing you can say, nothing she says can be trusted, because we've debunked so many of the things that she has said. In fact, what I believe it was Zane Lilly that commented about the man. I think one of the biggest like rumors that was ever going around, like alternate theories, I guess, is that Kyron, after he went to his classroom, after Terri and him split and Terri watched him almost get to his classroom, he decided to go to Miss Matthews' room, and in there was a man, and this unknown man who she talks about in an email on, I think, June 5th. So the day after, she's saying, oh, an unknown man. Yes. This unknown man, this theory evolves years and years later, where Blink on Crime is saying this unknown man asked Miss Matthews if Kyron could go with him to his car or his truck to help him grab something. And Miss Matthews nodded in acknowledgement, like, yeah, sure. But I want to say Miss Matthews was like a teacher that had been a teacher for decades. There's no way that she would just let her student go with an unknown man during the science fair. That would be red flag central. Hello. And B, Blink on Crime says that she read this in a deposition, which is a sworn testimony. Yes.
Not gonna see it.
It is completely impossible for her to have read this in a deposition like she says happened. So it's a lie. And yet here they are using Blink on Crime for all these other theories or whatever, all these other facts, but then like not acknowledging what Blink on Crime is saying actually happened to Kyron, which is just a lie. And I'd like to make it clear again, if what Blink on Crime is saying is true, Terri would know all this information, and Terri would know what this man looked like. Yet Terri never, ever, ever talks about this. She never talks about it. She never has said, oh, the man that is in the deposition that Blink on Crime talks about looks like this. Yet again, I mean, if I'm going to just say it, if Blink on Crime and Terri were friends, and I believe if Blink on Crime is saying this, she would have only gotten this information from Terri, or she would have made it up completely.
Yeah. And no, Crime Sleuthin', I couldn't get their website to work, or I would have used that one, but Kaylee found that amazing video about the weather.
Right.
Yes. And Kelly, were Kyron and his mom close? They absolutely were. He loved his mama. He wanted to go live with his mama. He mentioned it several times, and Kane just wasn't having it. But then Kane also says that he didn't know that conversations between Terri and Desiree were going on, because Terri was kind of controlling the situation in the emails and everything. But yeah,
Kyron adored his mom.
Absolutely, positively loved his mama.
And Desiree she had joint custody with Kane, and she never was inactive in Kyron's life. She may have lived hours away, but she called them frequently. She would make trips up there when she wasn't working. She did go to sport events, what's it called? Birthday parties, things like that. She was involved, and it seemed like they were co-parenting, because you can even see pictures of Desiree and Quinn, her other son, in old pictures on Terry's old Facebook, the one that Terry doesn't have access to anymore.
And yes, I do believe that Terry was absolutely jealous of Desiree
100%.
because Kyron loved her so much, because Terry wanted everybody to think that she was mama. We think that Terry was the one responsible and making up this whole Kyron called his mom Medford mom. We think it's a lie. I don't think that he was doing it. And if he did do it, I believe it was coerced. Kaylee believes it was just coerced. And
can you imagine a 7-year-old boy calling his mom that he adored Medford mom, unless he was being coaxed or coerced to say that? And I don't know. It's like, that other group that they say that like it's a badge of honor. Medford mom. No, that sounds like abusive to me. Yeah. If it's true. Just
and
doesn't
Yaya
sound right.
Says she drove hours to see him. Yes, she did. And Zane Lilly, you're right. She saw him every other weekend, even though the parenting plan was set up for her not to see Kyron very often. Kane and Desiree worked together so that she could see him as much as she wanted to. They were actually really good about all of that, even though Kane had cheated and stuff with Terry. He really was good about allowing her to have time with Kyron. So to answer your question, absolutely, positively, he loved his mama. We're going to talk about the buses, because the buses keep being mentioned, because Terry wants you to believe a different narrative, because she doesn't want you to think that this bus driver is a good witness, when we all know bus drivers are amazing witnesses, because they know the children, because they pick them up every day. They usually know the parents that are standing at the bus stop with them every day. And the stuff, we've found many contradictions here, and we're going to show you guys even how this group tries to control the narrative for Terry too, because it's gross. So here we have the bus schedule. The bus schedule mentions that the buses get to the school at 8:35 a.m. in the morning. There's no disputing that. That's when the buses get there. And then this is one of the admins in this Terry supporter group. Let's talk about the school schedule. We know that even though they had a modified school day, the regular schedule was followed, which is this bus stop. So I have the bus route and the bell schedule for the school. The bus's schedule says buses arrive at 8:35. The school schedule says the breakfast bell ring at 8:30. The first bell rings at 8:37. Classes start at 8:45. This leads me to believe that the buses would be unloaded by 8:35. Can we back up a little bit? The buses are scheduled to drop off or to arrive at the school at 8:35, but it led her to believe that the buses would be unloaded by 8:35. Can anybody else make sense of that? She literally twisted to make it fit into what she wants people to believe. And she's saying this because, buses must have gotten there before breakfast so that they could eat breakfast. Now, I don't know too much about the breakfast or whatnot, but you can't change a schedule, especially a bus schedule. And then Terry starts honing in on this with her opinions about the bus. There was very little room for the buses to get in and out, so they would park on the road on the east side of Skyline Road itself, and couple of buses would go up into that small area behind the gym and turn around. There was also enough room for one bus at the entrance door where the drop off is and another bus behind. So that right there, she's saying 2 buses can line up on the east side of the school and 1 bus would stay behind the school. A 3rd bus could go and turn around in the back and wait, but that's about all that could fit, so they would stagger that way. It was the same for when they picked up. Now, when she's saying this, and she's also saying the buses are on the road, we're talking about a really small school. Me and my husband kind of talked about this earlier. You're saying that there's 3 buses on school grounds and there's buses waiting on the road. How many buses do you guys think it would take to fill up that small school? Because I was telling my husband in that area, I was thinking 3, 4 tops, not 5, 6, 7, 8. We're talking a little bitty school in a little bitty area. There were all kinds of schools around that area. I don't believe there was a lot of buses. So there she is trying to make people think something. And then here's the thing.
I'd also like to point out real quick, because you're exactly right. This school had probably, I believe, an abnormally small amount of buses, because there was a large amount of district transfers to go to this school. People that did not live in the area drove to go to this school. A lot of parents.
Hey, middle fingers up. I see you.
And I wish I would have thought to look this up ahead of time, but I have seen the statistics, and it was like an abnormally high amount of people lived, like, I guess it would be called, not necessarily outside the district, but outside the school zone, but requested a transfer to go there. So they wouldn't ride buses. Those people all had to be driven by their folks. So, yeah, I just wanted to point that out. I know that it was a higher percentage. I just wish I would have thought to check ahead of time.
And one of the reasons why she's mentioning these buses and the way that they are there is because she wants you to believe that buses aren't just sitting there waiting, they're moving. And that this bus driver couldn't possibly have seen Kyron. Well, guess what, Terry? Thank you for clearing it up. If you're telling the truth, that just means that Kyron's bus driver must have been the 3rd or 4th bus in line, right?
Yeah, sitting there waiting, right?
Yeah,
had plenty of opportunity to watch you leave.
I mean, and it actually does make sense if you think about it. They arrive at 8:35. He's seen between 8:45 and 8:50. That's 10 to 15 minutes. If you give each bus about 5 or 6 minutes to unload all of their children and move forward out of the parking lot again, if she's not lying. I have no clue if that's how this went.
Maybe were there one of the ones that's parked on the side of the road or something? Like you said, yeah, something.
Do you know that if it was one of the ones that was on the road, well, I don't think it can be the one on the road, because she did say she saw them walking through the parking lot.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
I was getting excited there for a minute. Yep. I would have been like, she would have actually seen him in the truck if she would have been on the road. So that's not a plausible thing. But yeah, this bus driver is huge, you guys. This is one of the biggest witnesses in the Kyron Horman case. And there's a dispute about bus drivers. Was there 1? Was there 2? Was there what? And that's what we're going to talk about right now, because she's being asked, Terry, can you please confirm whether Kyron had 1 to 2 bus drivers? I see in many places that there were 2, one that drove the morning route and one that drove the afternoon route. I responded to you and a few others just now. It was only Jennifer, unless there was a sub. See, and it's my understanding that Jennifer was a sub or the afternoon bus driver, because it was talked about in People's Magazine. I couldn't find the clip in my Facebook group, but I am going to find it, and I am going to post it. If you want verification, you can come over to Kyron Horman Case Revisited Facebook group, because I will be putting that up sometime this weekend. And yeah, then Terry's thanked for helping and whatnot. You know, Terry's not helping. Terry's trying to control things. Then this one. Did the bus driver know in advance that Kyron would not be on the bus? And she answers no. You see anything over here we need to talk about in comments, hun?
Yes, I was gonna be like, should I wait till the after? Till you, I think you're gonna finish this segment. But Chaos
Yeah.
Queen asks, can I ask what exactly the bus driver said? I'll read it real quick. I have it pulled up in the book. The book says the bombshell was that Kyron was seen leaving the school with Terri. The Multnomah County Sheriff Office had said it a couple of weeks before, but then retracted it. But now it was confirmed. Kyron's regular bus driver, plus Kyron's friend Carson and Carson's sister and grandmother had all seen Kyron leaving the school on June 4th with Terri. It was true. Kyron, Kayla, and Terri had walked through the parking lot at 8:50 a.m. on June 4th. They were not holding hands, the bus driver said, but they were walking together. And Terri had not parked in the school parking lot where she said she had, but on the gravel road on the far west side of the school. So that's what the bus driver said, that she saw them walking through the parking lot, not holding hands. Desiree also clarified that Kyron was kind of like following close behind her through the parking lot to
And he even paused and took a moment to talk to Carson or another young man in the parking lot, one of his friends. We're not sure if it's Carson or not, but it has been written also in the book that Kyron stopped and talked to a little boy. Maybe it wasn't in the book. I better not say that because I'll get attacked. Oh no. And then somebody says here in their group, calling them out. Pretty sure Terri has said that Kyron had two different bus drivers on that drive the morning route, or one that drove the morning route and one that drove the afternoon route. So the afternoon driver would know if Kyron had ridden the bus in the morning, and the morning driver wouldn't have knowledge of Kyron's afternoon plans, because this is the narrative, you guys, that they're trying to put together here. So if the bus driver saw Kyron leave with Terri, then when the bus came, if it's the same bus driver, and when the bus came and Kyron wasn't on the bus, then why wouldn't she or he have just said, well, what do you mean he's not on the bus? Of course he's not on the bus. I saw him leaving with you earlier today. Terri?
Honestly, we don't know what the bus driver and what was said at that time. We don't know.
I'm not saying that's what she said. I'm saying that's what this group.
Yes, they're trying to discredit the witness by saying, why isn't this what the bus driver said to Terri? But my reaction is, we don't know what was said. And second of all, the bus driver may not have really even realized at that point what they had seen until they reflected, I mean, like in that moment, they just were as confused as everybody else,
Or maybe because the bus driver, yeah, exactly what you just said, Kaylee. Exactly. I mean, even this person's even confused. That may be, but I am sure that the drivers would be leaving a note as to who was on the bus to the other driver. See, here they are trying to create that narrative. I'm sure that bus driver would have left a note to the other bus driver that Kyron wasn't going to be on the bus. That's not what bus drivers do. Not that I've ever heard of. They're not writing notes to each other. Hey, this kid wasn't here today.
Okay. In today's world, maybe. Back then, no. I mean, you could ride the bus anytime you wanted. With your friends and stuff. I could fake a note to my mom, and then my bus driver would read it and toss it in their recycling bin.
And then Terri says, I don't know where that information come from, other than I have seen others refer to the bus driver as he or they. I have always indicated the one bus driver. We're about to get to that. Jennifer picked Kyron up and dropped him off. James had a few different bus drivers, but he went to a different school, although both were in PPS system. On a rarity, such as Jennifer being sick, she would have a sub, as any teacher would. Can you finish reading the rest of that? I've got it blocked out on my side.
Yep, it says, I can count on one hand the days she missed over the time she drove for Kyron, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the time she drove for him. Since we are on the bus question, she also had no contact with me that day via phone. June 4th, or any discussion about him not being on the bus. He typically rode the bus to and fro unless he had an after-school program to attend, such as young reverence or soccer practice. She have always expected to see him.
Yeah, here she is. She's just really trying to make everybody believe that there's this one bus driver. There's not just one bus driver. There's never been just one bus driver. And even if there was just one bus driver, doesn't mean that this bus driver isn't a witness, doesn't mean she's not a good witness, or whichever bus driver. I was actually told by somebody in our group that Jennifer is the sub bus driver, or Jennifer was the afternoon bus driver. That the bus driver that actually witnessed Kyron leaving with Terri has never been mentioned to the public, and they kept it that way.
Right.
Which
that
makes
I
sense.
find that very interesting, because you can pretty much find out almost any other person. I mean, I found out basically every other person who's mentioned, but the bus driver, the only name we get is Jennifer, and the only person who's ever said the name is Terri. And sorry, but Terry's credibility to me is very low. So I don't even know if, so.
The person who told me this worked at Skyline.
Right. I remember you telling me that.
Told things by people that maybe shouldn't be talking, that actually talk and give information. But this person worked at Skyline and told me that. So,
it's all helpful. I mean, after this long, I've told you, Samantha, like without the police doing what they do behind the scenes, we are left with just basically blind faith. But we can do what we do. And I feel like we've done a really good job of keeping Kyron's case alive with interesting and, debunking tons and tons of lies and misinformation.
We are debunking her lie right here. Because this is a screenshot that you found months ago, and I saved it because it says bus driver is Jennifer, and somebody says, Terri, was there only one driver, both to and from the school? And Terri says, no, there were several. What, Terri?
So which one is it?
Why don't you tell us the truth for once? Why don't you go talk to law enforcement and start telling the truth? And while you're there, tell them where Kyron is. Just do that. Stop lying. And these Terri supporters, why don't you guys stop supporting this person that knows where Kyron is? Stop trying to spin your web of manipulation and confusion and try to convince all of these people that this person is not guilty when she is, when everything points to her. Law enforcement looked into over 500 people. Nobody has been looked into for 13 years except for Terri Horman and Dee Dee Spicer, and possibly other one or two people that we have no clue about. One other person's been mentioned, but we don't know who else. But we do know flyers came out with the pictures of Dee Dee and Terri on it. And we know that they're looking for any people of interest in or around the truck, or anybody seen with Terri or Dee Dee that day. Why are there these trolls out there, these supporters to children that are either dead or gone or missing? I don't get it. In every case, though, you always have a group of people that want to support these sick people.
Right.
We got crime sleuthing. I drove a school bus for years when mine were young. PM drivers have no clue who rode in AM. They load up and drive off on schedule. There's no roll call or anything except special needs routes. Crime sleuthing, why don't you tell us? Did you know your children? Did you know who was on your bus? Did you know the parents? Did you talk to people? I mean, I'm just, really curious. I know my husband's cousin is a bus driver. My granddaughter's great auntie is a bus driver, and they have told me several times they know their kids, they know them well. I would know if I saw a child walk off with their parent or even with a stranger. If I would have seen it, I would have definitely known that was them. So that's where I'm at with this bus driver. This bus driver definitely knew that
Well, I see a bus driver every morning. My son doesn't take a PM bus, but in the morning I drop him off when I wait at the bus stop with him. And if I saw the bus driver walking, I would know. I would recognize them. So I can only imagine it's the same. I mean, not only does my son talk to them, but I say good morning and say hi to them every morning too. The bus driver cares about their kids so much that often they get them treats for Halloween and a gift for Christmas. Like I've had some great bus drivers. So Kane at the first press conference, Kane said thank you to the bus drivers.
Yep.
Because I
you
believe
pointed
it's
that out
because,
to me.
yeah, I feel like maybe at the very beginning, maybe one did say, this is what I saw. And he's saying, thank you for all the interviews and the hours of interviews you're doing to the staff and the bus drivers. I mean, don't you think it's kind of weird that he included bus drivers? Because they weren't there that day unless they saw something and they said something that is important to the case. So.
And here you have Desiree Young, Kyron's bus driver, was one of the witnesses, and she is confident in the account that she provided, saying they were walking together towards the truck, not holding hands, but walking together. I never noticed it says she in this. Ooh, I love it when I see new things. Plus, we had other witnesses that talked to him as he was walking through the parking lot with Terri. So there's witnesses that talk to Kyron. There are people that saw Kyron leave. This is his mama. She has the privileged information. She knows. She says they walked right out the side door and right in front of Kyron's bus driver, who was sitting in her bus. No questions. He walked out with her.
Sounds to me like the bus driver is pretty dang confident in what they saw. No questions. He walked out with her.
That's right.
And you know what? I will say some people question Desiree as a source of information. Desiree, I have found documents from the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office that identify Desiree and Kane as victims through the Oregon State Constitution, which entitle them to information on the crime. They are entitled to information, and the police keep them informed on what is going on. And not only that, but Desiree and Kane also still know a lot of these people, and I'm sure that they have talked to each other through, just knowing each other. And I personally don't think there's anything wrong with that, because this is what happened to their son. But yeah, they're a totally valid source of information. In my opinion, it's just like it came from police.
And Chaos Queen, to answer your question, you don't understand how Terri hasn't been arrested. Everybody asks that. We're always talking about this, because here's the thing. In the beginning, they wanted to find Kyron. They couldn't charge Terri with anything because they didn't know what happened to Kyron. Was he just kidnapped? Was he sold? Many people thought, people still think that he was sold. Was he murdered? How can you go after someone if you don't know what you're going to charge them with? The other thing that happened after Kyron disappeared, and our haters hate us talking about this, is the Casey Anthony case. Look what happened. Even with a body, she was let free. Casey Anthony walked free, and we all know she was guilty as hell.
Yeah, it's
she
a
was
tragedy.
guilty as hell.
It's a tragedy, and it's such an injustice to the ones that are still trying to honor her daughter. That is just, and I know it honestly, they don't have the piece of evidence that proves without a reasonable doubt that Kyron is no longer with us and that Terri's the one who's responsible. We've mentioned this in other lives though, but Stacy, who runs Kyron Horman's World Soldiers, she's friends with Desiree, and they've never asked her to stop posting that there is new evidence out there that does prove tragically that Kyron is no longer with us and that Dee Dee Spicer is the one who did it for Terri. So that's all the information that we are allowed to know as the public, and it's kind of another blind faith thing. But at this point, it's kind of like the DA, honestly, the DA in Multnomah County, he doesn't have a great reputation for charging for crimes or getting indictments. And so a lot of the speculation is that they are they're a little gun shy.
I forgot to tell you, Kaylee, I got to read you guys something. Good news came from Desiree Young today. Did you happen to see this?
Yeah, I did. I did see that. Let's pull it up. Did you?
I don't have it.
Here, I can get it real quick.
Today I have it. I have it, but I don't have it to show.
Oh, I see.
I forgot to load it up into CapsCut so that I can show it. But Desiree Young, go ahead. You go ahead, Kaylee. You can do that.
Kyron Horman World Soldiers posted some very exciting news from Desiree. She writes, a productive weekend here in Portland. Nathan, who is a DA that is running for election, or maybe a deputy DA running to be the DA of Multnomah County. Nathan took time out of his busy schedule to sit down with Desiree. This is more than Desiree has ever gotten from the current DA. She writes, I'm so grateful to have someone of this caliber running for DA in Multnomah County. Kyron needs action, and I think Nathan is perfect for the job. Kyron supporters are Nathan's supporters. Let's all vote for Vasquez. I support him. Do you? Share it so we can get everyone supporting his efforts.
We need to make sure we post that tonight, by the way, inside of our group so people can share them. But yeah, it's really exciting that she got to talk to this DA, and we're really, really excited and hoping that anybody that's living over in Oregon, if you vote, please vote for Vasquez in Multnomah County for the new district attorney, because the district attorney right now is a Chicken Little, and he just has not moved forward in this case at all. Even Yaya saying they're not going to file charges until they are absolutely without a doubt, and that's correct. And that's why that Casey Anthony thing scared the hell out of them. They're like, oh my God, if we get this wrong, if there's not enough evidence, if there's not this and this and that, then we're going to lose. We'll never be able to charge her again. Right now in the United States, and since like 2017, we have had so many no body cases gone through the courts and have won on many children.
Yeah,
but,
I think
right now we even have, what's the little girl's name right now? Does anybody know in chat that everybody's been posting about on your YouTube? They're going, and isn't that a no body case? Am I correct in saying that? I don't know too much about it, but I've been kind of watching
I'm sorry, I'm not sure either, but I know which one you're talking about. I've seen other people cover it. I just haven't clicked on it right. But yeah, I think that if you can get the suspect arrested and scare the crap out of them, that, oh my God, this is real, I'm going to get caught for this. Maybe they will tell you what happened. Maybe they will tell you, like, this is where they are. If you offer them a deal like, hey, instead of life in prison, we'll only give you 20 years. And you know what? It would be worth it to know what happened to Kyron and bring him home to his family. And so, to the people, that group over there, they always are judging us and saying that we're horrible people because we think that justice is important, whether Kyron is found or not. I mean, he's been deprived of all this time, and the chances of, I'm sorry to say, I mean, we all have hope, but there's evidence out there. His mom's closest advocate says there's evidence out there that says he's no longer alive, and the chances of him being alive are very, very low. And he deserves justice for that. I mean, we can't just let that go because the person who did this to him made dang sure no one would ever find him. I mean, that person still deserves to pay for what they did.
Absolutely.
it's crazy to say that anybody is wrong for saying justice for Kyron just because we aren't sure where he's at.
Yes, and like Crime Sleuthin is saying, yes, Harmony Montgomery, she's being covered right now on Crime TV, and I'm pretty sure this is a no body case about the father who like beat her to death, and there's something about a duffel bag even. I'm not going into detail because I don't know details, okay, you guys, and I don't want to spread any misinformation, but we do need justice for this little girl. I was sick to my stomach watching this. I just Court TV. I've been over on Justin watching it. I've been over on Brooke's channel watching it. There were times I had to stop listening to it because it was so god awful. I couldn't even finish the testimony of the woman who kind of like witnessed everything. She even had her kids in the car with this little girl, I believe. Okay, I can't talk about it anymore because I don't want to spread any misinformation. All I know, it's absolutely horrible. I'm pretty sure it's a no body case, but there's so many no body cases going on. I'm ready for a DA to take over, do their job. You know, something's moving along though. We do have Desiree with a pep in her step.
We're coming for you. Don't sleep.
Don't sleep, Terry. Don't sleep. Do not sleep. Sleep with one eye open. So, let's talk more about what she's posting because I don't know if she was drunk or what, because I'm telling you, World Soldiers, when she's posting and she says Terry's doing this, she must be drinking wine. So now I'm just like, she must have been getting drunk or something because she was on a roll last night. I had to stay up late just to keep watching it roll through the comment section. Let's see, what else did she say? Let's just talk about this one because she starts this timeline thing and I'm like, what? Because, you know, everybody's always trying to put together Terry's timeline because she changed her story so many times that nobody knows exactly what she did that day. Only Terry knows. She says, I find it very interesting when people speak about traveling times, unless you have an unpredictable 18-month-old in tow and you are driving the same road at the same time of day, exact conditions and traffic. It's not going to be 11 minutes because she's talking about the 11-minute drive to the first Fred Meyers that she went to, as an example. There is information and witnesses, which isn't public knowledge, that verifies I was where I said I was, which I will show in this clip that no, there isn't any public knowledge that verifies that she was where she said she was, because it's been said over and over and over again by Kane, by Desiree, by law enforcement, that she was not keeping her story straight. She was not where she said she was. There's GPS, there's cell phone tower, and cell phone pings that put her in totally different locations. Okay, you guys? So let's not fall for this. I know people are just trying to put a timeline together, but keep in mind, I'm not a robot driving a distance, then magically appear inside a Can you finish reading that, Kalia? My screen's ridiculous. If I start to like play and pause, this one little part of the screen won't let me finish reading.
Excuse me. I'm not a robot driving a distance, then magically appear inside a store 2 minutes later at checkout. We all have different strides. And now it's cut off for me too. I can't see. Oh, there we go. And nature does call. People get thirsty. Toddlers need changing, etc. The next time you go somewhere, clock your time. Do you have your child with you? Is there traffic, a car accident, construction, tree cutting? What is the time of day? Did you stop to get gas? A lot of factors in general not accounted for in summations. So here she goes rambling on and on and on. Mm-hmm. She'll do this every once in a while because honestly, it's always about nothing important. And when people are asking her hard questions, she'll give like one-word answers. Like you saw, there were several, or yes, or no, or whatever. And here she is rambling on and on.
I did not know that. Yeah. Oh, I gotta get into it. I'm gonna finish finishing these court TV stuff because wow. Yeah, she just keeps going on. Okay, so I wrote like a very sarcastic post inside my Facebook today, and I'm just like, oh, so there must have been construction on the way to get gas on the way to Fred Meyer's, and did you give a whistle to the tree trimmers? Like, come on. Give me a break. Like, let's just come up with every possible thing that you can imagine. Oh, and you had to go to the bathroom. You had to change the baby's diaper. There's a witness that says you changed a baby's diaper, Terry, on Newberry Road. It's a halfway point between Kyron's school and where Dee Dee Spicer was supposed to be working that day. What were you doing? When you were asked by law enforcement if you were changing a diaper, you said, I might have been changing a diaper. Might have been changing a diaper. Come on. Moms know if they're changing diapers. Why are you pulled over on Newberry Road, Terry? Why?
And why doesn't she just get straight to the point here in this comment? I mean, she has a lot to say, but none of it is direct or answers the question or lets people know the information that she has, that and it still leaves all of her supporters still guessing. That's what I just don't get. Yep. It's like you guys allow this potential child murderer in your group, and she's still done nothing to make it less suspicious on her in your group. She still is just letting not answering questions directly and acting suspicious until she gets these late night ramblings that make no sense and still have nothing to do with Kyron or leaves us even more confused. I hate it.
And yeah, you're saying, does she have custody of the little girl? No, she does not. She doesn't have custody of her because she refuses, just like we're talking about now, her not giving out any information. She would have to talk about Kyron to be able to see her daughter. So she straight up abandoned her daughter and has not seen her since Kane left the house at the end of June, filed for a restraining order and divorce.
Yep.
She's never seen her since.
It's all because it was stipulated she would have to talk about Kyron's disappearance, and to preserve her right against incriminating herself in Kyron's disappearance, she walked away from that little girl. And you know what? That was probably
and Kane has actually mentioned how well his daughter started acting and being after the fact that her mom was removed from her life. Like, he talks about how well she did, like better than he could even, I can't remember the exact words he uses at this time, but
she was a whole different kid. He says she was a whole different kid. And Terry's biological son, James, he's an adult. He's in his 20s or maybe 30 years old now at this point. He confirmed in an interview with the creators we talked about at the beginning of the video, he confirmed to them that Terry has never seen his little sister. So if you ever hear them trying to spread a rumor that she has seen her, it's a lie. Even James has confirmed it. So,
or that she is going to be seeing her soon. That's a lie too, because they do try to say it. Good night, Crime Sleuthen. Thank you so much. She taught me how to add moderators because we actually needed them, you guys, for our we showed up. We had so many people here. This is the most we've had on panel ever. After Justin's live, our subs blew up. We're just ecstatic that we're growing in such a great community with all of you guys. We really appreciate you guys being here. Terri Horman says, I'm on video elsewhere when he's seen at school. Again, trying to spin that narrative that
this is new to me.
At school.
I mean, yeah, I think this is something that she's been saying recently in the last year. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. Because even on Dr. Phil, she and all these news reports and People Magazine, they all acknowledge her as being the last person to see Kyron. And now all of a sudden she hasn't done an interview in a couple years and she's telling other people, no, remember, I was seen elsewhere when he's at school, and totally like changing this narrative that has been reported forever, that she went along with at one point. She agreed that, yeah, I was one of the last people, but now she doesn't like you thinking that. She now wants you to think other things.
Yes. And then this says that while Terri said she was at certain locations, investigators placed her
her bank card records and cell phone pings, placed her elsewhere based on her bank cards, records, and cell phone pings. So Terri has never been able to be cleared. And yeah, where she said she was going, her data was showing she was elsewhere. So again, they just weren't ever able to actually pinpoint where she went.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that she wants to say this. I mean, Jason Gates came out on the 21st of June and said, you know, she was the last person to see Kyron before he disappeared. I mean, and he adds to that. What is the words he uses, Kalia? I wonder if my blood sugar is low. My brain's having farts. I don't know.
What was the question? Sorry, I was reading a comment.
What exactly did Jason Gates say? What were his words?
Oh, here, I actually have it in a tab on my phone.
I think
it was here we go, right here. I was able to find the actual article on the Wayback Machine. So this was reported on July 17th, 2010. Jason Gates gave a press conference with an update, and they were trying to dispel rumors and focus on credible leads in the investigation and urging the public to continue looking for the 7-year-old. There was one new piece of information. Terri is the last known person to have seen him before he disappeared, Multnomah County Captain Jason Gates said, contrary to previous reports of someone else who may have seen the boy afterward. Gates said he's releasing this information now with support of Kyron's family to jog people's memories about anything that might have happened that day at the school. So again,
yes. And
Terry's agreeing. Terri is saying, like, yes, I was the last person who saw him. And it's only in this last year that now she's trying to say I wasn't.
Right. And that's the second statement that he puts out, because one of the other statements that I found, he actually says it the first time in June, and then he's doing it again in July, I believe. But yeah, I mean, and he was the investigator on the case. And like Zane Lilly saying that they're claiming that there's a 7th grader, Tyler, who saw Kyron in the gym with Terri. You know what? Tyler came forward. They actually talked to his parents because his parents had taken pictures. Law enforcement asked them not to share those pictures. I believe those pictures were time-stamped, and I believe that the reason why, this is my opinion, this is what I believe had happened, and I have no proof of this, but these are the reasons why I think that Tanner and Tyler's statements have been retracted. I think once law enforcement was able to look on those pictures, they were able to determine that it was not within the time frame that Kyron came up missing. And I believe that Tanner, the 8-year-old, I don't think he got his time correct, which he's actually caught changing his stories. And his parents and her grandmother, they were asked by law enforcement and the FBI not to allow Tanner to talk to the media, and they put him in the media anyway, and they let him do TV interviews. But that in itself is when Tanner changed his story a little bit. At first, he never really mentions, you know, he doesn't give a lot of detail, and then all of a sudden he's like giving detail. Anyway, I just believe that these two children and their statements were not in the time frame that Kyron came up missing.
And there were other children there. One was with an adult and his sister, and all 3 of them saw Kyron leaving that day, and that was supposedly one of Kyron's best friends, or at least a really close friend. And also another student who was there that day, who also had a picture taken with Kyron, or not with Kyron, but in front of his project right at the same time. Kyron was also having his picture taken in that same like minute or two time span. That student also has come forward and said he knew Kyron wasn't at school that day because he was at the alleged doctor's appointment that Terri had told everybody Kyron was going to. So why would that student know about the doctor's appointment? You know, you can.
We believe that Kyron talked about the doctor's appointment because he was told about a doctor's appointment.
Yes, I believe Terri told everybody, including Kyron, that he was going to a doctor's appointment that morning and he'd be back. And Kyron talked to the student, his friend, and the friend went about his day. And when this student's mom was like, wow, Kyron didn't make it home, that student told his mom, well, he wasn't at school today because he was at a doctor's appointment. So, yeah. I mean, you have to take all of this into consideration, not just what one student says. You know, the fact that this student knew about this alleged confusing doctor's appointment is also highly suspicious. And
oh, sorry.
You know, if Terri really did split them up on purpose to have them seen separately, that could totally be motive based. You cannot deny that could be motive based. And you have to think of it objectively when somebody is not willing to clear themselves and the police are over here saying, we've figured this out, we've straightened this out. And yeah, we looked into this. Terri was the last person seen with Kyron. That's something to take serious. You can't just take what an 8-year-old says over the police who looked into everybody's timeline and statements and made sense. Because while Carson was walking out of the school, he also, like his grandma also hadn't left their house until this happened, and they could have verified that, you know? So they were able to put an order of events in place and figure out who was really the last person to see Kyron, and it was Terri.
Yep. And Kelly asked if he was 8. So Kyron was 7. Tanner was 8 years old. And then there was the 7th grader. And Carson was also a classmate of Kyron. I'm not sure how old he was. And Zane Lilly says, which is sad because if anyone cared about a missing child, why would they go against law enforcement requests not to divulge their witness information to the media? Exactly. And I mean, and then after you do that, is law enforcement really going to use that child's statements anymore? I also believe that I think the grandmother may have actually been the person to kind of coerce him a little bit into what is saying. That is my opinion. There's no verification of that anywhere. It's not really talked about anywhere, but it's just something that I believe. And it was just because of the way how his interviews and stuff went. Kelly says, did he leave his backpack in his classroom? He left his coat and his backpack in the classroom. We believe that was another way for her to be able to later on then say, Kyron's missing? Oh my God. His backpack was there the whole day. That's one of the first things she says to Desiree when Desiree gets on the phone. When she's letting Desiree know that Kyron's missing.
I'm glad you mentioned the backpack, because the backpack to me is a big deal. Forever, we all were pretty, you know, in this Kyron community that we have here, we've been pretty set on what Terri said her timeline was that day. And she never said she went back to her truck for the backpack. And now here's this new mysterious thing where I found in these comments section that Terri went back to the truck to retrieve a backpack with Kyron, and that's her excuse as to why these witnesses saw her walking through the parking lot with Kyron.
Yeah, she's all of a sudden starting to talk about how she had to go back to the school. Well, here's the thing. She gets to school at 8:15 in the morning, and they walk up to the school at the front door, she says, and then they got to turn around and go get the backpack and then walk back, where she's now trying to say that's when the bus driver saw her. And that's why these supporters, these Terri supporters, are trying to help her create a different narrative and control it, because they're now saying, oh, that must have been when the bus driver actually seen her, is when she was walking back from her car. No, sorry. If you get there at 8:15 and you walk up to the school, walk back, and you start running, if the buses didn't arrive at the school till 8:35 in the morning, you have plenty of time to walk back to your car and walk back to the front of the school and go into the classroom. It's not going to take you 15 or 20 minutes. Doesn't make sense. You can't make it make sense. All you can do is lie about it and twist it. And that's what they're doing.
And you know what? It's super important to me to talk about this, especially with our newer subscribers, because this, to me, is one of the biggest red flags. Again, Terri never talks about this. She outlines her own timeline on Dr. Phil with her own mouth and never says she turns around for the backpack. Yet I found this information through digging through comments on Blink on Crime. So
over 9,000 comments on being Blink on Crime.
So the source of this information is Blink on Crime. Terri told this to Blink on Crime. Okay, so now that I say we found this information, we talk about it on a live, and now we start talking about it in our groups. It's now Terri has like accepted this and never has contested it as being untrue or anything. She never asked where did this information come from once we started talking about it or anything. It just kind of like was like, okay, well now this little aspect that was conveniently forgotten is now coming up in groups again. And Terri's not really talking about it. She's not clearing it up. And Blink on Crime, I'm going to read a comment here that I have screenshotted on my phone. Somebody asked again for more clarification about the turnaround for the backpack. And Blink on Crime, who was told this information by Terri, said the trio turned around at the door without going in and turned around to get Kyron's backpack before they ever entered the school that morning for the first time. So that means if what Terri told Blink on Crime back then, this would have happened within the first minutes of her even getting onto Skyline School property. Like you said, she would have walked up the pathway to the door, turned right around, and went back for the backpack. Well, now, just like a week ago, somebody asked her about when did they turn around for the backpack. And Terri said, we were returning library books, and I realized once we were in the school that he forgot his backpack. Well, if that's
I didn't
true,
even catch that. Really?
Yes, she says that. And if that's true, we also learned through the Blink on Crime comments that the librarian was supposedly going from room to room to room to collect library books. So you're going to tell me, Terri, that that's when you realized the librarian came in looking for the library books. You realized, oh crap, we forgot the backpack. So all three of you left. Instead of you leaving Kyron there in his classroom, all three of you left to go get it. And the librarian just conveniently waited for you in Miss Porter's class all those minutes. You walked from the very last classroom on that hallway all the way back to your truck and then back, and the librarian is still waiting. That is such a lie. That is such a lie.
And let's not forget to mention the fact that law enforcement themselves has been in the Blink on Crime comments wanting to talk to Christina Stoy, the blogger, because they're wanting to know where she's getting her information from, because they're seeing that she interviewed Terri and just never put up the interview because she was afraid, or they were afraid that it was going to, get Terri in trouble, of course. But yeah, I mean, she twists and turns and she just lie after lie after lie after lie. I want to throw this up. I called it Perlock because Terri decides that she wants to go on this storytelling rant. And this is why I think she might have been drinking. I don't know if you saw this, Kalia, but...
Oh, yeah. And this isn't the first time she's rambled about a freaking bank robbery. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Or just, tells this kind of story. Could you read this for me, doll?
Right. She's replying to somebody, and she says, I would think most people would use 15-minute increments. However, if you're recalling the events of your day to someone, you would start out by saying, I was on an appointment between 8:50 and 9:05. Or would you be more inclined to say, I was at an appointment at about 9 o'clock and then went to the bank around 10:30, went home, had lunch, and did some laundry. Now imagine that bank was robbed, and not only did your friend's uncle's cousin's cat, Perlock Holmes, swears
Jesus.
up and down that they saw you driving the getaway car, but bank video shows you at the bank and on your phone while in line. You leave the bank and go about your day. But since you were there on your phone and moments later it was robbed, you have a few hours of time you are alone and unaccounted for. Meh. You are innocent and there are receipts and video to prove it. Au contraire, outside cameras were frozen due to some technical error. Think attendance records. And Perlock Holmes plays miniature golf on Wednesdays with the bank manager.
Sorry, I'm trying to.
And yeah, there we go. And claims to be a witness to you parked in an alley nearby. The jig is up, Garnett. One of the ladies you play bingo with on Saturdays says she's seen you paying off the caller right before games would start. Your next door neighbor Miriam told Mayberry Monthly she's never seen you have to pay taxes, and in fact, you had bought a shiny new car a few years ago. She outwardly opined during her interview that you seemingly spent a lot of money recently. Yes. Wow, what the hell is exactly right? Miriam's nephew, Matlock, overheard you bragging.
These damn names. I just got to stop you. Okay. Do you guys see this shit?
Yes,
I mean,
it's going on and
talking
freaking
about
on. This is crazy.
This group is supposed to whatever for Kyron. She's supposedly upset that her stepson's gone. She doesn't know where he is. She's saying she doesn't have anything to do with it. And yet here she is in the middle of the night. I was up at 2:30. She's in California. She's the same time zone I am. If I'm up at 2:30 and I'm watching her, she's up late. And then she was right back at it early this morning, and they're answering more questions. I'm like, what the hell? Telling a story like this. I literally called this to pull up Perlock Holmes because she said Perlock Holmes. She's got all these wild, crazy little names for like all of these little characters. She's trying. I can't keep reading, Kalia. I'm just, oh my God, for fuck's sake.
It's crazy, isn't it? I'm done with this page. I don't know how much longer it is, but
yeah, there was like 4 pages of it.
Oh yeah, there you go. The Miriam's neighbor overheard you bragging to someone at Saturday market how well you've been doing at bingo. Now you're under a cloud of suspicion in your small affluent community of Mrs. White, Mrs. Peacock, and Colonel Mustard gathered in the lounge, mumbling something about a candlestick.
Really? She had to bring up the game Clue. I like that game. I'll never be able to look at it again.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
And then she says, that's a very good point. An observation, since it's also in the immediate area of the office and the entrance to the gym, because they're all talking about this waiting room that's there at the school. I've never heard this waiting room, I guess, that there is for people to like wait in and stuff. I don't know. What kind of story is that? I mean,
it's not the first time either that she does this weird bank robbery.
These weird, crazy things that she writes, coming up with character names and all of the sarcastic. I think this is the one that pissed me off the most besides the buses was this, because she's, you know what? She taunts Desiree all of the time. She loves to play games. She loves to post pictures of Kyron. And then she'll tell a story saying like she took the picture when she actually stole the picture from Desiree Young and post it for herself. She has posted about those Build-A-Bear things, and Desiree Young ends up calling her out saying that you're not giving the right time frame. Those glasses that he's wearing aren't even the same glasses that he would have been wearing at that time. Those were his, old glasses. His new glasses were titanium. Like, she taunts and she plays games.
Yeah, she watermarked Kyron's photo.
Oh yeah.
She's watermarked Kyron's
photo.
Yeah, it's pure antagonizing Kyron's mom. And again, that's all this group of Terri supporters has ever wanted, is to antagonize Kyron's mom and hurt her more on Terri's behalf. And so now, as sick as it sounds, they actually have been able to freaking brainwash other people into thinking Desiree had anything to do with Kyron's disappearance or Kane instead of Terri, when all of the suspicion lies on Terri. It's just so outrageous to me.
Yeah, and this is what we're dealing with right now. This has been away. We have not been having to deal with them for months. It literally turned into the quietest little group over there the last couple of months. But man, when I went on Justin's panel, they started going crazy. But she's over there saying that we're jealous, that we copy her, that I started my YouTube channel because she did, and that, everything I do because she did it. Are you serious? I changed the name to my group and she just changed her name to her group. She has Red Bull Coffee and Crime. She's got what's the other one? Her new one's called Blunt Reality, with pictures of marijuana leaves and Puff Puff Pass. And that's supposed to be a good child advocate. Morbid Injustice. I know some of you guys were saying you were going to give us some help with making sure they can't keep up their content. So those are why I'm giving out the 3 names. Otherwise, I wouldn't even talk about their asses and give it out. Like, if people here are whatever enough that they want to go check them out for themselves, you can check it out. You can check out their Facebook group and stuff. I'm not going to tell you the name of that one, but I'm just saying, like, you will find what we find. It's just nothing but a bunch of misinformation and attacks on the people. I don't know. I don't know why they attack. I don't know why they attack the parents. It's gross.
Well, yeah, it is gross. And I do have another few screenshots here. Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
I knew what you were doing. Yeah, you can read this one too if you want.
This is the admin, the same woman that was talking in those videos, the same one that we've been talking about. She wrote this, I think, just today or yesterday. It says, no one is entitled to know what law enforcement knows, which I agree, right? We aren't necessarily entitled to what they know or what they believe.
Yeah, we're not privy to that.
Right, I agree. What Terri is posting is what she gave law enforcement, which was verified because she's not in prison, obviously. Terri, I appreciate your postings and comments, letting us know a little more. You still post knowing others try to spin everything you say. You still post even though LE is in our group. Why? Because you're not changing stories. It's common sense, you guys. There's no lies being told. Her story hasn't changed at all. And no one is entitled to anything. We are not law enforcement. All you can do is speculate, and we prefer going by the facts. Fact is, Terri's story never changed. Fact is, Terri wasn't ever a POI or a suspect.
Nope, just the main
a de facto suspect.
Main
fact
focus.
Is, Terri is not in jail. Fact is, no evidence to prove Kyron is unalived. So I would take what Terri says and go through actual public facts. You can't compare to other theories and what they think happened because it's not fact. Fact is, speculation doesn't help find Kyron. Only timeline I've seen change 4 times is what Desiree said, and we posted screenshots. That's all. And again, yeah, this is just, again, that it's so frustrating because if you read this and you weren't somebody that took research seriously and you were trusting that the people that were claiming to be advocates for Kyron were, you would believe them. But the thing is, this is nothing but a blatant lie, like Chaos Queen is saying right here. Terri's story has changed several times. We have witnessed it from her own mouth through the interviews she gave in 2016. Terri certainly is a suspect. Why hasn't she ever testified to the grand jury if she wasn't the suspect of the grand jury? Yeah, Terri's never been in jail, but that doesn't mean that there's not a mountain of evidence against Terri doing this.
Yeah, I mean, and some of you guys, like Purple Phoenix, you've been, dealing with everything with Eve. We've all been seeing what she's doing and what she's saying in Michael Vaughn's case. And
I called Eve 2.0. I
Yeah.
called her Lexi 2.0 because she's just like this. It's
I
horrible.
mean, me and Kaylee have already talked about it, and it's like, damn, here we go again, dealing with another troll, dealing with somebody else, having to go spread misinformation and just act like, a supporter of murderers in Michael Vaughn's case. It is disgusting. And this pissed Kaylee off. She's like, Sam, I'm doing it. I'm gonna find out what I can. We're going after Eve. I'm like, yep, let's do it. I mean, so you guys want to give us support, we'll give you support, like, because we're there with you. We've been here and done that, and we believe we've pretty much shut them down until here
We
recently.
have. Oh
So,
yeah, we were able to totally work so hard and debunk all of their lies. That's why I'm laughing over here that Lexi posted here saying we prefer going by the facts. Excuse me. Everything you've ever posted is literally lies that you've copied and pasted. You lied about Rudy not speaking English. You lie about all these fake profiles all the time. It's
and
just
when she does copy and paste, she only copies what fits into her narrative, clips the rest out, adds some, and takes some out. She never does the whole copy and paste thing. She only picks out the little things that she thinks is going to fit and then adds it all together in her little
confuses people, right? Makes it sound like how she
uses
wants it
that
to stick.
app to talk now. She has to use her owl writer to talk now because everybody was, complaining about, pretty much complaining about her in her group, the way she was talking, acting like a gangster, threatening people, doxing people, threatening us, threatening my group, talking crap about all of us, talking crap about Desiree, talking crap about world soldiers, and just on and on and on and on. It's been a long game.
And you know what?
That's why we're doing this live, you guys, so we can just really squash. Let me just squash you.
Right, exactly. And I don't blame Terri for not like coming over to our group because it's not like we're super welcoming or anything or would like welcome her with open arms or anything. But it is funny that she's associating with these liars, and one thing that is important I want to talk about is she knows these people are lying. She's over here reading these comments, liking these comments, never correcting any of the lies ever. They have so many lies that they believe that we have debunked, and Terri has said nothing to
Kaylee, can you
correct
do
them.
me a favor and copy that purple saying to email her? Can you copy that real quick so we have that for later? I absolutely will, purple. I've emailed you before, but you haven't got back to me. You said you haven't been getting your haven't been looking at your emails. But yeah, I mean, what they're doing over there is gross and disgusting, and it was just time to really talk about it, really show everybody the facts. Especially watching you guys go after Eve, we felt a little bit more comfortable, going after somebody because this isn't what our platform's supposed to be about. It's not what any of our platforms are supposed to be about. We're supposed to be advocating for children. We're not supposed to be on our platforms talking about the people that are bringing misinformation, because there shouldn't be people out there bringing misinformation to these children's cases. Right. There should be facts. We should be doing research. We should be, sharing information with one another, helping one another, helping each other's platforms. It's not a game. Children are missing, children are gone, children are dead. They've been abducted, they've been kidnapped, whatever you want to call it. Like, this is a serious situation, and it's not time to play games. It's not time, to watch these people just create a web of deceit and try to control things, and their agenda,
and trick people trick them to getting on their side, to try to trick them into leaving them. That's all it is. And what, Purple Phoenix, the other day, I was watching your live. It may have been the one yesterday, and you said something about Eve where you said, I bet Brandy would trade places with you in a heartbeat. And I totally was like, I thought about Lexi. Here she is with spreading lies in this group full of people, and Terri, them working together and thinking like, Desiree, here she is almost 14 years later. We're going to be at 14 years this June, and that's going to be here before we know it. It just, yeah, I just can't even believe that anybody is heartless enough. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I get that parents do shitty things, but they're going to coddle the suspect, Terri, who abandoned her daughter, who has all this shit against her. And then they're going to talk shit about Desiree and Kane and cast this suspicion towards them when there is literally no valid reason to. I mean, I literally have yet to see any valid source or anything. Yet here they are tricking people, and it's like spread. And it's just heartless.
Yes, 14 years. And Chuck came over. Thank you guys so much for all of the support. Like I said earlier, thank you guys for, opening your arms, welcoming us into, your big group of people. We really appreciate everybody. It's nice to see so many familiar faces that I'm trying to get to know and learn about in all of the comment section on all these different lives. I will admit I took a little bit of a social media break for a couple of days. I had to go visit my grandbabies. They are what make me happy when, I need my pickup. I need my lift up, especially after watching some of that stuff that was on with the Montgomery case. I couldn't. I had to go see my grandbabies, but I just appreciate everybody being here. I want to see what else I have in this particular video.
She was the
This is Desiree Young, Kyron Horman's mom, and she's just talking about one of the places that Terri Horman said she was that day, which was the craft store that she never went to.
only one that came back and said, oh, well, maybe I forgot about the craft store I went to. And then we start backing into it. Well, there was no camera footage that proves that you were there, and well, the lady says you weren't there either, and you start really tearing it apart, and well, that wasn't really true. And so, well, maybe I was at the craft store on a different day, and there were so many different versions of what she was telling people and where she was at. I still know to this day what I had for lunch. I know everything I did that day. That was the day that our world turned upside down. I can tell you where I was. There's no way that she doesn't know where she was at.
The day at the school.
And this is Kane and Desiree on the Dr. Phil show talking about the differences in stories that Terri gave to law enforcement and to them about the day that Kyron came up missing, because she's told a lot of stories, you guys. She was changing her story sometimes multiple times a day. And one of the biggest things that these Terri supporters want you to believe is that Terri didn't change her story, and it's bullshit. She did. She changed it all the time.
We've heard her change her story. We've changed her
watched
story
her change
between her
story.
interview with ABC to her interview with Dr. Phil.
Yeah, she's lied about getting the baby to sleep and not getting the baby sleep before they went to the gym. She lied about what time she got to the gym. At 11:39 is what she says, but camera footage at the gym says she didn't arrive there until 12:20 that afternoon, and she was only there for 20 minutes because all Terri wanted to do that day that Kyron disappeared was go around and show Kyron's picture from the science fair. She wanted to create an alibi. She talked to people she would normally talk to, and yeah, I mean, she went to these different stores in these different locations. Like, why would you even go to the first Fred Meyer's if you had dry cleaning to drop off, and the dry cleaning was actually at the second Fred Meyer's that you were going to visit that day? Why wouldn't you just go straight to the second Fred Meyer's? Oh, that's right, because you had to talk to the security guard that was at the first Fred Meyer's, the Fred Meyer's that you use all the time to do your recycling, to use your grocery shopping at, and you had to stop that security guard and ask him where the Tylenol was, even though a month prior she had already bought a bunch of Tylenol, and all of a sudden all that Tylenol's gone. But she's saying she's going there for the Tylenol. And why the hell don't you know where the Tylenol is at your local grocery store that you shop at for your groceries, where you go to do your recycling?
Yeah, unbelievable.
Doesn't make sense. Make it make sense.
What she did at school that day, her accounts of it to me are completely different.
What did she tell you that is different? Well, this is important.
My story from her was that they went up that main set of stairs by the office, and they parted ways right in front of the office.
And according to law enforcement, that was her second version when they also felt like it wasn't jiving with them. They countered her in the interview, and then that's when she said she went up the front staircase.
Let me look how far he's going. He's not going that far. And even if they did split right there.
So the classroom 209 here is wrong. Dr. Phil got it wrong. All the way down on the end of the left, room 213, that's actually where Kyron's classroom is. The first story that she gave is this blank spot between the 205 and the office, the OFF here, where the blue is. The first story is that she went in and out here when she left. The second story was actually that she went out the east side of the school where the buses are. And that's where she went out because that's where witnesses saw her leave. And that's where she claims she went to, where she left from now. And I'm assuming that's because she was seen going out that way.
You're going to tell me that he got picked up by a stranger in about 50 feet and willingly walked out the door with someone that he didn't know? Absolutely not. Not a chance.
And that hall would have been populated.
Oh, yes.
With tons of people that all know each other.
Everybody in this community knows one another. They all go to soccer games together. They all do they do everything up at the school. You guys know when you're involved with PTA or you're not involved in PTA or their school activities. You're getting your children, you're meeting up with the parents. This is a small community, not a big community. Everybody knew everybody. He would have been seen leaving with a stranger, and he wasn't. He was seen leaving with Terri, and Terri changed her story multiple times about how she left the school. And here's another instance that Kane points out about her stories leaving the school.
Last time she saw him, she was down by the main office and he was here outside his classroom.
I think he was coming this way down the hall and she was turning and going the other way. I don't know if it was down the stairs out or out the side door. I can't remember which version of the.
And that's Kyron's classroom right there to the left. And the stairwell behind Kane actually leads out to the soccer field if you were to go downstairs. And if you guys ever want to see the entire school, we did do a video. Its name is Ground Zero. I walk all the way around the entire school and describe everything. If it's something that you're interested in, it's a really good video to give you lots of perspective.
Story it was at the time, which changed a few times. So
it did.
But it was, going somewhere that way.
Hi, Terry. I'm Dan Tilkin with Channel 2 News.
Yeah, somewhere that way. She changed her story multiple times about how she left the school. How could you not know how you left the school? It wasn't that long, Terri. It was not that long. And you guys also remember, he was missing for 6 hours. Up to 6 hours by the time he didn't get off of the bus. From 8:45 to 8:50 in the morning till about 3:15 to 3:30, he had already been gone. It was all part of a plan. You guys are some crime sleuths, and we know the most important time when a child comes up missing is those first few hours. And it was gone already, long gone. And then here you have law enforcement chasing their tails and going on a wild goose chase because Terri can't tell them where she was and what she was doing, and her story is changing. There's a doctor's appointment. Oh, nope, there's not a doctor's appointment. Can't get the doctor's appointment straight. Oh, it was for next week. Oh, no, it wasn't. So what's Desiree got to do? She's got to sign consent forms so law enforcement can see if there was an appointment at the doctor's office. They have to go get footage at this Albertsons that she said she went to. The footage showed she wasn't there. She says she went to the craft store, like we just saw Desiree Young say that she didn't go to. They are having to do all of this and focus on all of this. Meanwhile, they should be focusing on finding Kyron, but they can't because they have somebody lying. We also know in children missing cases, they're going to look at the parents. They're going to look at the people the closest to the child. And they paused on Terri. They were able to let go of everyone else and say, okay, we all know where all these other people were, but we still don't know where Terri was. And that's why she was honed in on immediately. They talk about honing in on her that weekend. He came up missing on a Friday, and they were already by that evening asking Desiree to sign consent forms for doctor's appointments. That's how fast, you guys. And she goes in to take a polygraph test on Monday, and she fails. And she doesn't want to keep doing the polygraph test. She comes home bitching, moaning, and groaning about, I didn't pass it. I'm not want to do it anymore. Blah, 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 blah. And then takes another one and fails. Takes another one or doesn't take another one. She goes and then she just walks out. She refuses to do it. And it was like pulling teeth to even get her to go do the second or try to go do the third one. This isn't a person that is cooperating with police. This isn't a person who wants to prove themselves not guilty. This is suspicious activity, no matter how you look at it, period.
Right. From the second or third day, and she said she was done cooperating. And I am going to be posting something tomorrow in our Facebook group, but I was typing it up today. And in her ABC interview that she did for, or not ABC, sorry, People Magazine interview for that printed People Magazine article, one thing that she says here is that the last thing Kane said to her when their fight blew up and he put Kiara in the truck and was leaving, she says, "What do you want from me?" And he said, "I want you to clear yourself." That's what Terri's own words was the last thing Kane said to her. So, I mean, that just goes to show he was not feeling like she was doing everything she could to answer where she was for those 2 hours and 40 minutes that are unaccounted for. That's how much it ended up being, 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's insane. And then you guys will hear more about the truck. We're going to talk about the truck and her borrowing the truck.
One of the important questions for investigators, why did Terri Horman borrow the white truck from Kane the day Kyron disappeared? He says with the intention of using it to bring Kyron's science fair project home, but the project remained at school. Desiree and your husband are saying that you know where Kyron is. Do you know? And why, according to sources, did she lead Kyron's teacher to believe he had a doctor's appointment the day he disappeared when he didn't?
Yeah. So this truck, Kane has said multiple times she wanted to borrow the truck to pick up the science project from the school. We have a new twist in the narrative by one of the people, these Terri supporters, that says that, or it may be Terri told this person in the group, I don't know, but the new narrative is that the science fair project was supposed to come home that day because Medford mom, is what they say, wanted to see the project, or Kyron wanted to show it to her, or they were gonna, let it go to Desiree's house. Well, here's the thing. I've never heard that before, ever. Not by any supporter in that group, and not by Terri, ever. The science fair projects were not supposed to be picked up until the following week. And if she was borrowing the truck to pick up the science fair project, why wasn't it picked up when she left? Mm-hmm. Why was she standing at the bus stop with Kane waiting for Kyron to get off of the bus instead of picking him up at the school to pick up the science project and Kyron?
Yeah, in the group today, somebody asked her if she went to all the school events, and she said she went to every event except 2.
I have those, by the way.
Yeah. So why was she not at the site at the little what's it called? Talent show, Mm-hmm. Why wasn't she at the talent show? Which people wondered that back then too. And why did she expect Kyron to get off the bus if she had told many people that that's why she needed the truck that day to pick up the science fair project? And I'd like to say that again, through those Blink on Crime comments, I think they're valuable because I think the information came right from Terri. Blink on Crime was asked about the truck, and the doctor's appointment, and Blink on Crime said that Terri and Kane hadn't been able to talk enough. The only thing she had time to ask Kane about that day was if she could borrow the truck. She didn't have time to tell him about the doctor's appointment that she had scheduled the following week, allegedly. Yet the teachers knew, and I just think that's suspicious. That's suspicious.
Mhm.
Kane did not
It is.
know that Kyron had a doctor's appointment scheduled, and the excuse that Blink on Crime has relates to the truck. So I just thought that was interesting, and I wanted to drop that information in.
Yeah, and the other thing about the truck is she borrowed the truck the day before Kyron went missing too. Now, Kaylee seems to think maybe she had tried planning this for the day before and it didn't go right. I have messages that I was able to get in chat when I was doing case studies with Terry's son, and he actually showed some messages between him and his mom, Terri, about her saying that she went to do recycling at the Fred Meyer's on the 3rd, and that's why she needed to borrow the truck. That information's been sent to law enforcement. But yeah, why did she need the truck the day before? Why did she need the truck?
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about the rural area and where they're searching and where, if Kyron is not with us anymore, did she need the truck because, she's up in rural areas? Like, who knows?
She's planning on going on rural roads. Chaos Queen asked, did she ever say what the doctor's appointment was for? Yes, she did. She's changed it multiple times. That's another thing she's changed her story over.
He has said that he was walking into rooms and spacing off, that he was having seizures. She's talked about him being sexually abused, which is ridiculous. She has talked about a lot of different reasons why he was going to go to that doctor's appointment. His parents and his stepfather have all said, none of them said that they noticed any change in Kyron whatsoever. The only thing that Kane said was the baby had an earache. She was keeping everybody up in the house up in the evening time. Maybe he was a little bit tired, but he wasn't having mini seizures. He wasn't sick. He wasn't being molested. She's really just trying to twist something. She wants everybody and anybody to listen to anything and everything she says. If you can just, if she can say multiple things about Kyron and she can get one person to just believe one of those things, that's what she wants you to do. And what happened is she's got a group of Terri supporters that all believe this, that all believe that she says, that all believe this and this and this and that. And it's all the way she took control, even from emails on the 5th. The very next day after Kyron goes missing, she is spinning her narrative. She's even in the comment section of news channels talking to people, seeing, why isn't she out looking for Kyron? Why isn't she putting Kyron's flyer picture or his picture or something as her profile picture on Facebook? If she's going to be on social media, then why isn't she doing that? And why is she claiming that she's the person that got the flyers for Kyron to go pass out when his mom did that? Yeah, she did that right away too. What?
Bizarre.
Why aren't you looking for Kyron? Is it because you already know you're not going to find him? Is that why you're not looking for Kyron? Because that's what makes sense. You're not going to go look for something that her and Desiree were in the truck and they were driving around. They were on the way to a news conference. Desiree Young's looking out the window. Terri asks her, what are you doing? She's like, I'm looking for Kyron. And Terri made a joke out of it and just sarcastically was like, you're not going to find him looking that way, or just something like that. Just, here's mom looking for her son, driving as they're passing all of these rural roads and stuff on the way to a news conference. Terri ain't looking out the window looking. Why isn't she looking? Why isn't she ever looking? She never looks for Kyron, you guys, ever. She didn't go out on any searches. The only searches, if she even searched, After Kyron didn't get off of the bus, her and Kane and the baby go up to the school. And that's when law enforcement ends up calls and whatever. And everybody's searching and calling for Kyron's name and everything else. You guys want to know what Terri was doing? Terri was walking inside of the classroom and making sure to grab his backpack and coat. You want to know why? Because later on that evening, she takes it home and she washes it. Why is she washing his stuff? And Desiree Young says that she had done all of his laundry and stuff too. Was this something that she did so that dogs didn't have something to get a scent on? What was her reasoning for this? Was somebody else in the truck with them on the way to school or something like that? And maybe their DNA or their hair or something could have been on the backpack and coat? Like, what was the reasoning for washing the backpack and the coat? What was the reason for making sure all of his laundry was washed? You know, she's taking...
I don't know. I wondered that.
I have thought a million things with that. They're not able to find the Tylenol that she says she bought at the store that day. They're not able to confirm her story. You know, she's taking somebody down in the basement and asking them to lie. Can you please just tell law enforcement that you know about the doctor's appointment, that you knew about it?
Right. Yeah.
And this person is like, no, I'm sorry. I don't feel comfortable enough doing that. And this was somebody from the school she was asking that was there at the house to try to just help with the situation the day. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, Chaos Queen. Oh my God. Yes. Just red flags, red flag. It makes you so mad. Like, yeah, it makes us so mad. It's so aggravating to see this woman walking around and getting away with this. It really does, because there's so much that proves even just the circumstantial evidence to me alone, and the fact that she's lying and changing her story is just unreal. I'm going to finish this video real quick.
When did you become suspicious of her?
First polygraph results came back. She was very vocal with everyone in the entire house about how it went, how that she failed. And then the actions after that, and the discussions that we had trying to understand what happened that day, she would change her story daily, if not more than that. I mean, every time you talk to her, it was a little bit different about, well, here's what happened that day. And it, you know, you kind of look at her going, you know, we have a major crisis here, and you don't even have a story that's believable at this point.
No, and Kyron Horman, he mentions polygraphs, and we just talked about polygraphs, and this is something I want to point out. I do realize that they're not municipal in court. I get that. But it is used by law enforcement as a tool, and I always say this, and I will repeat it and repeat it. Law enforcement is still using this as a tool because it's used to find deceit in people. They are able to see the deceit, or it just gives them an inclination of, okay, this person's showing a little bit of deceit. Maybe we should look a little bit further. If this tool was not successful, law enforcement wouldn't use it.
Yeah,
they wouldn't use it.
Yep, and it just shows her suspicious behavior again. When they were confronting her after failing her first polygraph, she was pissed AF and self-admittedly says, I am done cooperating with this investigation. That's suspicious. That is so suspicious. That is 2 days after Kyron's disappeared, and you claim to be the mother of the year that loved him more than his own bio parents loved him, aka I'm calling them that. That's words out of her own mouth. Just sickening to my stomach. It's such a lie.
Yeah. Let's see. I think I got a couple more here.
Well, there's parts of the story.
Oh, I better tell you guys what this is. This is a recording that Kaylee found. It's Desiree Young and Kane clearing up misinformation, lies that Terri started telling people after Kyron disappeared. I mean, and the information, it's just crazy. To hear the rumors that she started spreading is just weird. We'll talk about it.
In the beginning about Desiree and Terri being friends, and they weren't.
Yeah.
Right.
That comes from Terri herself.
There is the statement of, I hired Terri to take care of Kyron, which is completely false.
Yeah.
She had a full-time job.
Right.
And Desiree and I were already taking care of Kyron ourselves before she had any involvement in that regard.
So this was deception that Terri passed to friends, and built up this mythology.
Yes.
Correct.
And but this was not accurate.
Correct.
There.
Yeah. Terri and Desiree were definitely not friends. She went around telling everybody that her and Desiree were friends. They were buddies. She painted this picture of like them being best friends in a way in the very beginning, and then says that, you know, they, being Kane and Desiree, being still together, hired Terri to take care of Kyron and paid her to take care of Kyron.
Terri
First
cares a
of
lot
all,
about what people think about her, so that's why she painted this picture.
Yeah, she didn't want people to know that she was actually the reason why Desiree and Kane break up while Desiree's pregnant with Kyron because Kane's cheating on Desiree with Terri.
I mean, that doesn't make Kane look awesome, but I know society is extra hard on women. It just is the way it is. So yeah, she cared about people thinking that I'm the reason this marriage was breaking up, even if it wasn't the case, even if they were having trouble along the way. Desiree was pregnant and Kane's cheating on her with another woman, and Desiree goes on to say that Terri was coaxing him through the divorce, and it was so bizarre. And she goes and tells her friends, instead of being honest, she's deceiving people and saying that her and Desiree were friends, and that's how she met Kane. Like, I don't get how anybody can look at Terri and say, oh, she's a credible person after all these instances of deception and all these instances of untrustworthy, untruthfulness, no integrity to stand up to the truth. And it just is bizarre. She's not a truthful person, and here's it straight from Kane's and Desiree's mouth.
Right. You guys, these Terri supporters were out there talking about Desiree having herpes while she was pregnant with Kyron, and that is the reason why Kyron couldn't
Has bad
see
eyesight.
well and had
Yeah.
bad eyesight.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Instead
even though-
of, and today we just read that. That's why I laughed. We just read that. Ha ha ha. We talk about facts. Okay, where's the facts of what Samantha just said? That is completely, utterly rumor-based and just disgusting and hurtful and meant to be hurtful, and just shows how unclassy these people are.
And let's just say, if Desiree did have herpes while she was pregnant, it probably came from Terri since Kane was cheating.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing I want to clear up. I'm not bashing Kane. We do not bash Kane. We do not bash. People make mistakes. That is just a mistake that Kane made. It's whatever. We're not blaming him. It's not his fault that he got together with a monster. You know, when they got together, things were fine. Terri started changing like about a year before Kyron came up missing, postpartum depression. She was having different kinds of depression, taking antidepressants, and she was drinking. Those three
Kane
things.
was almost a victim himself. I mean, there was allegedly a murder for hire against him. He could have been the one that was murdered. And I hate it that Kyron is the one that ended up being the victim of Terry's actions here. But Kane had no idea. I mean, that to me is victim blaming. Kane had no idea what Terry was going to do. And had he known, he would have left way before that, way before when he even thought, if he would have thought Terry was capable of that. No one saw that coming. And to me, it's kind of like comparing like any domestic violence victim or murder victim when they're being murdered by a significant other or a spouse. It is... if they saw it coming, obviously they wouldn't be with that person, or if it was that easy, so I agree. We're not bashing either of the parents. And honestly, what happened back then with Kane and Desiree and Terri when Desiree was still pregnant with Kyron, and all this was obviously really, really probably highly contentious and hard to go through. None of that had anything really to do with Kyron, other than Terri being introduced to Kyron at that time. But ultimately that had nothing to do with what happened on June 4th, 2010, except for Terri being introduced to Kyron. Other than that,
Yeah.
that's it.
I dare people to come over to my group or my comment section talking shit about the parents because you're outie, you're gone, you're blocked. I don't tolerate it at all. They were never suspects in this case, ever. This person, I don't know how to say your name, so I'm going to call you 2103. And you're asking, do we know how long Dee Dee Spicer was missing that day? How long was she unaccounted for? Well, in the beginning, she was unaccounted for the same amount of time Terri Horman was, but they both were unaccounted for about 90 minutes. And then those times started to change. We now know that Terri Horman, according to the book Boy Missing, The Search for Kyron Horman, that Desiree helped write, Terri Horman was missing anywhere from 2.5 to 3 hours. I found a very old news clip that came out towards the end of the summer of 2010, and it says in there that Dee Dee was missing for 4 hours, even though prior reported time was less. So it sounds like Dee Dee was missing for quite a while. And that was actually a timeline I tried to throw together many, many, many times. But once Kaylia became my partner, she realized that the times, because I had always thought that these longer time periods were in the beginning. And so they must have narrowed it down to 90 minutes, but it was actually the opposite. It says Dee Dee's missing for like 90 minutes, and then it just starts going up from there. So they were finding out that Dee Dee's time missing got longer and longer and longer as time went by.
Mm-hmm.
She was seen leaving the property. They called for her. They looked for her. They phoned her cell phone. The employer took the time to look for her. Dee Dee was not where she was supposed to be that day.
There was a request to, I guess, dig up or excavate your property, your yard.
Oh, search, yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. Is that correct? Yeah. And you said no.
Yes.
And that bothered you?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, why would you not?
I have an open invitation with law enforcement and the search and rescue teams, the certified search and rescue teams, to search my property any day, anytime. When I was called, I said no to the private search, but I immediately said, and I will continue to say right now, anytime the sheriff's office and the search and rescue teams want to come with their dogs, it's already, my property, I'll qualify with, my property's been searched more than the school has probably. And my invitation is open.
Yeah, he didn't want private searchers up there that didn't have their licenses to be able to search. If these searchers that aren't licensed find any kind of evidence whatsoever, if they don't do their jobs right, this evidence that they might have found
is
would not be
inadmissible.
able. Yeah, they would not be able to use it as evidence. It'd be thrown out. So why would you have unlicensed people out on your property searching? It doesn't make sense. And he's always said law enforcement can come anytime, just no private searchers. This is a rumor that was also spread. Terri talked about why, well, Kane wouldn't let dogs go search the property. Desiree was even really upset. You've seen here that, he wouldn't allow it, but I just don't think people were understanding his point of view when it came to why wouldn't he let, private searchers. And,
these Terri supporters, these recent bunch of Terri supporters, I forgot to mention this. The reason we settled on calling them Terri supporters is because Terri, throughout these 13 and a half years, she's gone in and out with these groups of Terri supporters who go really, really hard for her and spread these lies for her. So these comments that I'm reading from these recent bunch of Terri supporters, it honestly feels like I could have plucked them from 5 years ago, from 10 years ago, and it was the same comments made from those back then Terri supporters. And the difference, though, is this round of Terri supporters love Harry Oakes. Again, I mentioned him at the beginning of the live, and he did a lot of damage, in my opinion, in spreading misinformation in Kyron's case, especially because he's over here telling everybody that his uncertified dogs that are completely uncertified hit to death sentence on the whole perimeter of Kane's property. And that made these current round of Terri supporters, these ones that have the group right now, they're spreading this lie to everybody and putting suspicion on Kane. And that's what we got into the fight about. That's why I got banned from their group in the first place, because I'm over here saying, whoa, 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 that doesn't make Kane suspicious because he doesn't want to hire some Joe Schmo's uncertified freaking dogs.
Right.
And then I started looking into it and realizing, well, freaking A, Kane lives on 5 acres of property. How would this guy have even been able to get to the surrounding of Kane's rural property? It's surrounded by multiple acres of other people.
Yeah, and it's an uphill driveway. There is a no trespassing sign at the very bottom to even get up to the top and onto the property. They're one way in, one way out. Doesn't make sense.
And long story short, I found multiple changes in that Harry Oakes guy's story. So in my opinion, he's a dang liar, and everything he said to cast suspicion on Shane, he just wanted his 15 minutes of fame and wanted to be relevant, which he's a legend in his own mind, and he fits right in with these Terri supporters. So
yeah. His problem is that he wasn't wanted. They didn't want him there, and now he's butthurt. Cry me a river. Cry me a friggin' river. Yeah, and just to let you guys know, if you guys don't know it, Terri just started talking on Facebook again like a year ago. It was like last February. February of 2023. I mean, she has not been back on social media in a very long time. She completely stopped talking about anything, and then all of a sudden, boom, here's Terri. Of course, she's had her fake profiles trying to control her little narrative and stuff, but Terri showing her profile, her Facebook, she has not in 13 years. She puts up pictures of Kyron. What's the words that she used? She's trying to humanize Kyron?
Yes, humanize Kyron.
What
like his parents haven't spent decades talking about their missing son. I mean, listen to any old interview and they act like Desiree and Kane haven't spoken about who Kyron was as a person. And again, that's just them lying to their people. It's not true. It's disgusting that they call it humanizing Kyron, like Kyron's heartbroken parents haven't done that.
Well, to me, it almost makes it sound like he's not been human this whole time or something. I don't know. It just doesn't sound right. It doesn't fall on my ears good. And I hate when they say, we love the Terri supporters. We love having Terri in our group. She humanizes Kyron. What?
Yeah.
What? It's gross. This is the last video I have. Then we'll chat a little bit and then we'll go. Yeah, I'll add this up. And this is the one I think you were waiting for, Kaylia. This is, I did a clip, I think, of a few things. Terri Vasquez. So how many of, if you guys don't know it, Terry's been remarried. It's Terri Horman, Terri Moulton, Terri Vasquez. Terri Vasquez. So how many of Kyron's events, class projects, sporting events, play, etc., have you attended while Kyron was in school? How often do you attend those events alone or with James and or Kitty? Also, because everyone makes it sound like there were people that knew your everyday events, how often did Desiree Young and Tony Young visit your home? I don't know why visiting the home even comes into play here. Like we just said, Desiree Young was not friends with Terri at all. Why would it even matter if they went to the home or not? No, she doesn't have to go to the home to visit with her son. You know, that's how I feel. But you know what? When her son came up missing, she sure did. She went and stayed there.
Spent there a long time. Spent days in there, weeks before, I think, maybe like 2 weeks or something.
You can go ahead and read this if you want, hon.
Terri replies to Garnett saying, I attended each event or activity that Kyron was involved in or wanted to be, with the exception of his frog presentation and one other, since she only asked for it to be dropped off the day prior and made no mention of him presenting that day, or I would have been there. Earlier in the year, she did the same ambiguous reference with another project, so I missed it and asked her to let me know in case our wires crossed with both our hearing impairments. Ha ha ha, I love that she's saying that. She did call me for this Iron Bridge presentation so I could be there with a 20-minute heads up or something. The message will go to the next slide.
Yep, it's taking a second. There we go.
I was the only parent who attended, so it wasn't just me who wasn't getting information. He would have soccer practice after school, so I was there for each one with my daughter, and James would ride the bus from his school and get off at Skyline stop so he could come support his brother. Then we all went home in my car. I also took him to all of his soccer games and helped the coach with administered of things, including ordering the awards for all the kids. Young Remembrance was an after-school art class.
Mm-hmm.
Which
it's getting there.
Which I attended a few times in the beginning, but the teacher felt having others around would be a distraction, so asked if I would come back at a certain time. This was also the class at one instance where the teacher was a substitute that did not show up at all. They got lost, and that's when I received a call from Susan Hall to come picking up. He and other children had been left alone in the library for about an hour with no supervision. Did the same thing for all of James' events when he played football, and when Amy, Quinn's stepmom, had her daughters, I helped out with transportation for Quinn.
Was there even more? I think this one was a long one.
Yeah, it is. Sheesh. I arranged with transportation for Quinn to attend his cross-country practices, and then Greg would pick him up. Quinn,
in case you guys don't know, sorry to interrupt, Quinn is Kyron's brother, Desiree's son, and Greg is Quinn's father.
He wanted to continue in 2010, but Biomom said no, since she would have to drive up on the weekends that weren't hers. Tony Young came to a couple of soccer games. Desiree Young attended a few games, but not all, and a few of his baseball games. She did attend one cross-country race on her weekend that was clear out at the horse track. Visit the home 2 times, maybe. Desiree Young for sure the first. She's wordy tonight.
That's what I mean. Like, this is all just from last night, you guys.
She is wordy because normally it's like very, very few. She doesn't want to give up information.
Yeah, and I mean, she told her little story with all of the characters. It was like message after message after message, and then we have like all of these, and then she's going through and picking and deciding what she wants to answer and talk. I don't know.
Yeah, it bothers me that she doesn't ever correct anything like this fake steroid ring. She lets all of her people believe that she busted a steroid ring with the FBI involved, and that's why they're targeting her. It's outrageous, and we've debunked it, and yet she's over here liking people's comments and not saying anything. Just convenient for her to not have that heat put on her. But yeah, here she is, wordy as all get out about nothing that actually matters with Kyron's disappearance.
Well, yeah, and she's also just trying to paint this picture of being this perfect stepmom / mom, whatever. But she disappeared Kyron. She gave up her daughter because she didn't want to talk about Kyron and his disappearance. And her son, James himself, has pretty much said since Kyron's disappearance, he's only seen his mom a handful of times. She's not a good mother. She's not. Matter of fact, James and her don't even really get along. And he said that multiple times.
Well, back then, I mean, we've talked about it, but she was super drunk and got in a drunk she got pulled over while drunk while driving him as a child. And it just seems to me like if they don't have this close relationship, obviously he went through some childhood trauma. They never recovered from it.
Yeah, and she was 3 times the limit when she got pulled over driving with him in the vehicle, going down I-5 corridor, which is one of the largest interstates on the West Coast. Yeah, she's not a good mom. There's this color card system thing going on at the school, different colors meaning different things from whether Kyron was being good in class, not being good in class, disruptive in class. She was asking the teacher daily, Kane said, for the color codes. And anytime he wasn't doing well in class, she was wanting Kane to punish Kyron. And I guess they fought over that a lot because he didn't get as punished as like Terri wanted him to be, I guess. What did she want? What did she want Kane to do to a 7-year-old that was acting out of school, especially when he's being taken care of a stepmom that's getting drunk, passing out on the couch while the baby's running around. She's taking antidepressants and drinking. She's not being the best person. Kane's pointing this picture of her not really being nice to Kyron. Maybe that's why he was acting out at school.
Yeah, right.
I don't think that there's any more, and we don't even need to finish reading it. I mean, it's just totally irrelevant what she's saying, because all she's trying to do is paint this picture that's impossible for her to paint, because we know the truth. We know she was involved with Kyron's disappearance. The world knows she was involved with Kyron's disappearance. Her handfuls and handfuls of these people that she's collected over the years, these Terri supporters, either one, they know too that she's had something to do with it, and they just want to be, the black sheep of the investigation or whatever, or they're stupid enough to believe her. I mean, come on, you're ignorant or something, or you're not being able to comprehend the entire picture, or you just love, causing chaos because she finds people just like her. Terri does. People to lie. I mean, and these people don't just lie. This isn't just misinformation. This is disinformation.
Oh, yeah.
They will create a lie and try to make everybody believe it and put it out there as information.
Never seen them come forward and say, oh, I was wrong about this or anything. That's how you know that they're purposely trying to trick people, because their integrity is so low that they're not coming back and saying, oh, we had this wrong. Like, we all called them out once, saying, because one of them said that again, pointing the finger at Desiree unnecessarily, saying that Desiree said that she has daydreamed about kidnapping Kyron, and saying we all were like, where has she said that? And nobody has, as to this day, ever posted proof, and nobody has ever come forward saying, oh, this isn't true. They just move along and keep spreading lies. And one of the screenshots I have that I wanted to read was somebody asked her on a post some hard questions about what happened that morning. And she said, someone asked her, can you please clear something up for me? Class wasn't going to start until 10 that morning. That was 1 hour and 15 minutes after you said goodbye to him. If he was not being chaperoned on his own, would he have wandered from school? Because there is only 3 ways this could have went. He was either taken from school by someone, wandered off, or he left with you. It's said that you both were seen returning to your truck. You say it was to retrieve a forgotten backpack. But was it ever said you were seen returning to the school grounds from the truck with both kids and the backpack? And she said, there are witnesses and evidence to support what I've told the appropriate people. I realize you trying to delve into theories of the what ifs, and the what ifs is part of what's frustrating in this case. You say there are only 3 ways, but you're leaving out quite a bit more. My post is about Kyron, and there are other posts about your questions. So I appreciate your questions. And she doesn't answer it, and she shut off her comments at that time.
Yeah.
And
she does that multiple times too. She'll turn off the comments because she doesn't want to talk anymore.
no, she's done. These questions are getting too hard.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I don't want to answer these because, again, these are the questions, like I said, Blink on Crime, who got her information from Terri, is certain about what happened to Kyron that day. Why is this group using Blink on Crime as a source, yet diving into all these other theories, not the one Blink on Crime is saying that happened, that Terri told her? That Terri is the one who said this. Terri said a man took Kyron that day, yet Terri will never answer a question about a man.
You know, and it's also really crazy too that they always bring up the fact, the Terri supporters, they say things like, why would Terri say that in our group when she knows law enforcement is in our group? And you know what, you guys, law enforcement is in our groups.
Yeah,
I have
know
been
this.
told that. I know it. He is watching these groups. They, many are watching Terri. And, you know, that's a good question. Why would she say these things? Again, she likes to play games. She likes to taunt.
And to be honest, she's not giving a lot of information out. Mean, we are still just as confused. None of us knew about the backpack thing until we found it. And then all of a sudden now it's being talked about. Terri had been in their group forever up until that point, liking comments and kind of talking a little bit. I mean, she would say things to like discredit people, like somebody pointing out the fact that the police also said she was sexting with the landscaper who allegedly came forward and said she tried to get him to kill Kane. Well, when someone pointed that out, she accused that person of not knowing what they were talking about and spreading a lie. Yet this is it. This is the truth. And so she's trying to change people's beliefs. So I am.
Yeah, you just were. I don't know if you still are, but you were cutting out pretty bad.
Well, I just unplugged and plugged back in.
There you go. You sound better now.
Okay, good.
But yes, everything you're
It's
mentioning,
crazy.
I mean, it's just so crazy to look at. And then something else that I ended up finding, you know, because I thought it was really interesting when I went back through messages and stuff, I was able to find conversations between the people that created the group that they're in, these Terri supporters. I'm going to repost it on my Facebook just so everybody here, if you guys want to go over and watch it or look at it. These are messages between all of these people putting together this Facebook, talking, excluding myself. I know I told you guys that I was in the group, but I came later. They are talking about how they're going to present their misinformation. How are we going to talk about this in our group without people thinking that it's misinformation? How are we going to do this without posting a link with it? It is so sus, you guys. It is so suspicious. Yep. And I've posted it in there. And then I got told by these Terri supporters that me, the computer dinosaur that's only had her computer for the last, 8 months, that had to figure out how to use it. I'm getting a hold of Crime Sleuthin' tonight to figure out how to add a moderator because I've never had one before. And she's telling me how to do subs only. I know nothing about computers and stuff, but I guess I'm so good at technology that I can create text messages and messages even that look like they're in Messenger.
It's just projection. It's a projection tactic because that's what they do. That is the kind of crap they do. They make fake profiles, they lie, they deceive. So that's why they're going to accuse you of doing it. Yet afterwards, guess what? They came forward and explained themselves. So how are they going to sit here and say you faked it when they came forward also and said that they were explaining themselves? Again, it's best funny because after we don't care. I mean, I do feel misled by these people. I do. So it felt like I couldn't believe that there were people out there that are purposely misleading people, and that hurt me personally. But at the end of the day, what really pissed me off is the deliberate spread of just misinformation with no regard to the kid they were claiming to advocate for. And that's why I honestly feel proud of us, because we have really stopped by the work we've done. We've dug to the bottom of so many of these freaking lies, and they have stopped posting about them a lot.
And what's really worrisome is that they're starting these new groups. There's more Facebook groups now for other crimes. There are more and new YouTube channels being created because they want to start advocating for other people and other stories and other crimes. And all it is going to be a sleuth of nothing but misinformation and disinformation being put out, because they're constantly trying to be the black sheep of everything.
Yes, they like to stand out for some reason, and you know, it's just funny.
It's all about attention with her. She's always taking selfies. She's always, doing something to draw attention to her. She likes to put her face out there on lives and her TikToks for Kyron. She's not showing flyers of Kyron. She's showing her face instead of, showing Kyron, which, by the way, Kyron Horman, he disappeared in Portland, Oregon from his school's science fair at Skyline Elementary. He was 7 years old. He was a second grader. Wow, I had a brain fart big time. He disappeared on June 4th, 2010. If anybody there in the Portland area that, or anyone has any information about Kyron and his disappearance, anything you need to come forward with that maybe Dee Dee or Terri has told you, call the tip line at Multnomah County Sheriff's Office at 503-988-0560. Kyron's case is almost 14 years old. Almost 14 years old. We have to keep his face alive. We need to be on our social media, and we need to be posting up these flyers. If you want to pass flyers around, Kaylia, will
I'll
send them to you.
No
free of
cost to
charge.
you. I'll send you colored flyers, no cost to you. I even was thinking about buying a laminator, and you know what, getting them. But we're in February. The summer months are coming. We're just a few short months away, and that's the best time to hang them because they're not going to be rained on. They'll be able to stay up for a long time. I hang up flyers using Gorilla Tape, clear Gorilla Tape, which I find at my local grocery store. It's super sticky and it'll keep the posters up. And if I do it on a telephone pole, I honestly use tacks. I got a thing of tack and a little mini hammer, and I just and get those up
We got
there.
a stapler, and I went and got this clear stuff from Walmart that was really easy to put on the flyer. The flyer that I hung up on Savia Island months ago made it through all of this rain and everything, and still has all his
Lots of mine
information.
did too. Lots of mine here in my that I did. Sometimes if I really want them to stay, I'll take that clear Gorilla Tape and I will cover the whole thing as like a protection barrier.
Right.
But I will send posters to anybody who is willing to hang flyers for Kyron or missing Michael Vaughn. Either way, I have kept track, and so far I have sent at least 400 missing Kyron posters to people around the country here from our Facebook group, Kyron Horman Case Revisited on Facebook. And I just think that's awesome because, I say all the time, Terri is set in her ways, and there's no way that Dee Dee or Terri are going to do the right thing. So the next best thing we can do as people, as Kyron's team, as Kyron supporters, is to remind the DA that we are never going to give up, and basically hopefully rally together and get him excited in the case again and to seek an indictment. If they really are sitting on evidence, then it is all about just having the I hate to say it, but the cojones, you know, to put it into action and seek indictment over this. And if we can all just rally together, get his face out there, remind people he's still missing, maybe his face will be seen by the person who has that one tip that they're waiting for, you know. It's just so important. So thank you for joining us. And yeah, I would be happy to send anybody a poster for missing Kyron Horman or missing Michael Vaughn, because no tip is too small. You never know who needs to see that poster to call and bring this case home.
Yeah, because it only takes that one little tip that somebody might have to like crack a case. It really does. It's just the little things. The little things add up to big things altogether. Again, Kyron Horman's tip line number is 503-988-0560. Please call the tip line if you have any information. If you've seen anything in that area that you thought was suspicious, please give a call. We really appreciate everybody for being here. Bun, you said you came late. What's happened? A lot's happened. You need to go watch the replay, girl.
We threw it way
Terri
back. We
Horman.
took it to the beginning.
Terri Horman was up late last night talking on Facebook, and she was just trying to deflect and trying to control and create that narrative again. So we went over a bunch of things, and since we did our live with Justin for All, we've been getting attacked again, so we just thought we would take care of it.
Let people know how we started, how Samantha and I met. And again, this was something we both unfortunately went through, but how great it did, because I'm grateful for this. I feel like we're changing lives, Samantha, and that feels awesome. And I'm grateful to have met you.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm glad to be doing this with you. I enjoy your company. I enjoy working with you. I love that we work so well together. I mean, yeah, it's amazing. And thank you, Susie. She uses her husband's profile to come into YouTube, but we love you too, Susie. This is another one of our admins. We just had to add a moderator named Heidi to our Facebook group because we've been taken off, and now I know how to add moderators to our lives. And yeah, we're getting lots of support from everybody, and we really appreciate it. Thank you all for coming. Really enjoyed having everybody and talking with everybody and just getting some of this off of our chest, for one, because we literally woke up so pissed off. And the other thing is, you know, we're not trying to bring attention to these people in any way, shape, or form. You know, they're always talking about clout and stuff, but what it's about is not drama, for one. We have people spreading rumors and spreading misinformation and disinformation in a child missing case. And that's what it's about. It's about Kyron. And we're doing this for Kyron because it's important that Kyron's case doesn't have all of this disruptive bullshit going on in his case. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's important. We're not playing games. This is serious stuff. And that's why we're advocating for this child. So I don't want to have to keep coming on panel and talking about this BS. So I just laid it all out on the line tonight. Everybody knows. And if they continue to spread more misinformation, we're going to talk about it. But we're probably going to do it on our Facebook unless it's something really big. And then we might have to do this again. But I doubt it because I don't like talking about them. I really don't. We hate addressing anything they do. We hate giving them any attention. We worry about people going over to their Facebook or going to their YouTube and seeing what they're saying and getting sucked in.
And think they're being honest. Yeah, they have no integrity over there. You know, I love going over there and keeping track of what Terri says because, again, she contradicts herself all the time. And it just again, last night was especially wordy. Thank you for tagging along. She was definitely she would, for some reason, who knows if it was because it was alcohol induced or what, but yeah, she wanted to talk last night, and not a lot about Kyron, just all about everything else.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they do say we stalk. They do say we do those things. You know what we do? We stalk their group. We're
And
not
they do us
stalking their
too.
group.
I mean,
Yeah, we stalk their group for no other reason other than to see what Terry's saying and to just see
exactly.
what bullshit they're trying to spread these days. But, somebody's got to do it, right? Yeah, that does sound familiar, Kelly. I know what you guys are dealing with Eve. We've seen it before, and we're on your side.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous what she's doing. It has upset us just as much as the Terry situation. So I'm right there with you guys. If you guys ever need us to help with any of it, let us know. I'm going to hit end stream. Love you guys. Thank you guys all for coming. Let's just listen to Desiree one last.
We're coming for you. Don't sleep.
Heck yeah.
We're coming for you. Don't sleep.
She says it the best. Thank you guys all for coming out. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your weekend. Kalia, thank you for always being here with me.
Absolutely.
Tonight was a fun night. I mean, I guess we can say it was fun. It was whatever. It's different.
It's
We got
always
to
nice
play
hanging out
around
with
a little
people.
bit more.
And guess what? It's nice to see so many people here with us advocating for Kyron. Just feels good. So, yep. Everyone, take care. Have a good night.
Have a good night, everyone.